Chapter 761. The Apocalypse Legion had arrived. Please reading on Zenvel. Omicron M. Shao family. I don't know where Lord Demon King went. This is a critical moment. The leader of the Wind Wolf tribe, Lang Ba, paced back and forth in the Shao family's main hall. Everyone from the Shao family was also frowning. Do you think Senior might have escaped? An elder of the Shao family asked. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone in the Shao family's hall was stunned. It was not that they had never thought of this, but they did not dare to say it out loud. Everyone from the Shao family and Lang Ba were a little shocked. They thought that if Yili ran away they would be finished. When facing the tyrant whale Silver Sun Tiger race, they would have no chance of survival. Family head, bad news? Bad news, family head. Suddenly, a panicked voice entered everyone's ears. A Shao family disciple ran into the hall and looked at family head Shao Kuang in shock. Master, there are 9 zombies outside the protection city. What? Everyone in the Shao family's hall was shocked. They looked at the messenger disciple in a daze. Clap. Suddenly, a Shao family elder slapped the face of the Shao family disciple who reported the news heavily, causing this Shao family disciple to spin a few times on the spot. Just 9 zombies here. What's there to report? The elder of the Shao family shouted angrily. At this moment they were all tense. They thought that the tyrant whale Silver Sun Tiger race had arrived, but they didn't expect there to be only 9 zombies. Zombies? They had been in the northern plains for many years and had seen countless zombies. The Shao family disciple who came to report was stunned. After a long time he came back to his senses and said with a long face, "Those 9 zombies are not ordinary zombies." Hearing that, the people in the Shao family hall were stunned again. Not an ordinary zombie? What did that mean? What do you mean? Speak clearly. Shao Kuang looked at the messenger Shao family disciple and said, "They all look the same as humans and their eyes are normal." What? Everyone in the Shao family's hall was stunned. Zombies looked exactly like humans? There was no special color in their eyes? There was only one possibility, and that was that the lowest level of these zombies was a master-level zombie. How did you know that they were zombies? Shao Kuang asked. They said it themselves. The disciple of the Shao family who reported the news replied in shock. After pondering for a few seconds, Shao Kuang said in a deep voice, "Everyone, let's go take a look. Outside the protection city. Brother Ada, why don't we just barge in?" Yutong looked at Ada in confusion. "It's better not to mess around," Ada said. At this moment, the 9th zombies of the Apocalypse Legion were all outside the protection city. Not long after, the members of the Shao family and the leader of the Wind Wolf tribe, Lang Ba, arrived outside the protection city. They focused their eyes and looked at the Apocalypse Legion in shock. "May I ask who you are?" Shao Kuang found some clues. He found that the 9 people in front of him didn't have the aura of humans, so they could only be zombies. He guessed that these 9 zombies were all master-level zombies. Although his protection city wasn't afraid of the 9 master-level zombies, he still wanted to know their purpose. Were the Apocalypse Legion. "Our master asked us to come here," Ada said to Shao Kuang. The Apocalypse Legion was naturally an extremely unfamiliar name to everyone. "May I ask who your master is?" Shao Kuang asked again. "Our master is Yi Li," Yutong said with a sweet smile. Outside the protection city, all the genetic warriors were shocked. Chapter 762. Apocalypse Legion Upgrades. Please reading on Zenvel. Omicron M. The head of the Shao family, Shao Kuang, looked at the Apocalypse Legion in a daze. "Why, your master is Senior Yi Li?" The genetic warriors outside the protection city were also shocked. They had never expected the Apocalypse Legion to say such words. "That's right." Alta nodded. Shao Kuang clapped his hands. "Oh, it's really like a flood rushing into a Dragon King's temple. A family doesn't know a family." At this moment Yili suddenly appeared between them. "Master." The 9 zombies of the Apocalypse Legion were all overjoyed. Yili nodded. "How is the Demon King Palace?" "Master, the Demon King Palace is now the strongest faction in the Mystic Land," Alta said. Then Yili gave the Apocalypse Legion the 15 zombie upgrade potions he had obtained from the Kunlun Mirror trial. Before that, Yili synthesized the 2 5th-tier zombies in the system space respectively with Ada and Hongya. These 2 5th-tier zombies were synthesized by him and Xiaoyu in the zombie city. A few seconds later, Ada and Hongya upgraded to 6th-tier Lord-level zombies. "Drink the potion," Yili said to the Apocalypse Legion. After the Apocalypse Legion drank all the potions, their levels also changed. They had all become 6th-tier Lord-level zombies. Ada and Hongya didn't drink the Lord-level zombie upgrade potion. Yili smiled in satisfaction. The overall strength of the Apocalypse Legion had increased by another level. Demon King, are they all your zombies? The leader of the Wind Wolf tribe, Lang Ba, looked at Yi Li in horror. What's wrong? Yi Li turned around and asked Lang Ba. Lord Demon King, can I ask what realm they are in? Lang Ba looked at the Apocalypse Legion curiously. Everyone from the Shao family also looked at Yi Li because they also wanted to know the specific realm of the Apocalypse army. Do you really want to know? Yi Li glanced at Lang Ba and the Shao family. Lang Ba and the Shao family members hurriedly nodded like chickens pecking at rice, as if they were afraid that Yi Li would go back on his word. Alright, since you all want to know, I'll tell you. The Apocalypse Legion is all 6th-tier Lord level zombies, Yi Li said slowly. What? When the Wind Wolf tribe leader, Lang Ba, and the Shao family members heard this, they all sucked in a breath of cold air and were dumbfounded. They were all 6th-tier Lord level zombies? In other words, they were 9 Lord level zombies? At this moment, there were no words to describe the shock in the hearts of Lang Ba and the genetic warriors of the Shao family. Shao Kuang, the head of the Shao family, thought that the Apocalypse Legion was at most a master-level zombie. However, he didn't expect that the Apocalypse Legion was full of high-level Lord-level zombies. They'll go take a nap first. Let me know when the Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race comes. As he spoke, Yi Li yawned, turned around, and slowly walked into the Protection City. The Apocalypse Legion followed closely behind. The leader of the Wind Wolf tribe, Lang Ba, and the genetic warriors of the Shao family were all stunned. They looked at the back of Yi Li and the Apocalypse Legion in shock. Is this the real strength of Lord Demon King? Lang Ba said in a daze because he realized that he had already started to worship Yi Li. It was a kind of worship that made him prostrate on the ground. What are you guys thinking about? Shao Kuang muttered. Family head, I don't know what they're thinking, but am wondering why there's a man like Senior in this world. Chapter 763. The Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race had arrived. Please reading on Zinvel. Omicron M Protection City. The Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race arrived outside the Protection City. The hundreds of Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tigers were truly shocking. When the Shao family's disciples saw that the Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race had arrived, they were all frightened out of their wits and hurriedly ran in. Senior. The Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race is here. The Shao family disciple who reported the news hurriedly ran into the Shao family's hall. When the Wind Wolf tribe leader and the Shao family members heard this, they all stood up from their chairs. The Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race has arrived? The Shao family head, Shao Kuang, looked at the Shao family disciples who came to report. Yes, family head. The members of the Shao family and the leader of the Wind Wolf tribe, Lang Ba, hurriedly looked at Yi Li. Yi Li slowly took a sip of tea and looked at Lang Ba and the Shao family indifferently. Let's go out, Yi Li said slowly. Immediately, the group of people headed out of the Protection City. Yi Li and his group arrived outside the Protection City and confronted the Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race. Who is Demon King Yi Li? The leader of the Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race said coldly to the crowd. Lang Ba and the Shao family were all shocked because the aura emitted by this Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger was too terrifying. Their eyes were wide open, and they did not even dare to breathe. I am Demon King Yi Li, Yi Li said calmly. The Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race looked at Yi Li in unison. The leader of the Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race smiled coldly. He stared at Yi Li and said, Demon King Yi Li, you killed so many clansmen of my Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race. You should know what happened to you, right? Yi Li smiled calmly and shook his head slightly. I, Yi Li, don't know what will happen to me. The Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race was a little stunned. They didn't understand why Yi Li dared to say such words. At this point he still didn't know the consequences. In the northern plains, anyone who had provoked the Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race must die, not to mention that Yi Li had killed so many of them. Demon King Yi Li, since you don't know, I'll tell you. You'll die without a burial place. The leader of the Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race said coldly. Yi Li smiled to himself. His Apocalypse Legion was now all 6th-tier Lord-level zombies, while he was an 8th-tier Chosen One. Although there were hundreds of Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race members, their strongest combat power was only at the 8th-tier Lord level. There were also a few 5th-tier Lord levels and 10th-tier 1 Lord levels. The rest were nothing to be afraid of. The leader of the Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race suddenly seemed to have discovered something. His expression could not help but be stunned. Demon King Yi Li, why don't you have the aura of a human? Also, the person behind you doesn't seem to have the aura of a human. The Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race was stunned. They naturally wanted to know why Yili didn't have the aura of a human. What's so strange about this? I Yili don't have the aura of a human. Isn't it because I'm not a human? As for them, they are all zombies in my Apocalypse Legion. What? The Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race was stunned. Demon King Yili wasn't a human but a zombie? The leader of the Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race was also shocked. He narrowed his eyes and stared at Yili. His intuition told him that the Demon King Yili was definitely not simple. Demon King Yili, you said you're not human. Are you a zombie too? As soon as these words were spoken, not only the Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race, but even the Shao family could not help but be shocked. However, the corners of Yili's mouth curled up slightly, and a faint smile appeared on his face. I Yili am a demon. Chapter 764. What kind of sword was this? Please reading Omicron N's novel. Omicron M Demon? The Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tigers and the Shao family were all stunned. They had been in the northern plains for so many years, but they had never heard of the demon race. What kind of member is a demon? The leader of the Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race stared at Yili and said firmly. Yili smiled faintly. It's a race that you can't imagine. Your Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race is like an ant in front of my race. Arrogant. The leader of the Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race shouted angrily and continued, Demon King Yili, what's there to be mysterious about? Attack. The leader of the Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race shouted. Immediately after, the Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race rushed towards Yili. Their aura was fully displayed as if a black cloud was pressing down on them. Yili looked indifferently at the Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race that was rushing over. He took out the Ancient Dragon Abyss Sword from the system space. Divine Level Skill, I-11 Severing Sword, Divine Level Skill, Heaven Sword Technique and Heaven Defying Level Skill, Heavenly Demon Finger synthesized. Countless terrifying illusions appeared on the Ancient Dragon Abyss Sword. There was a 5-clawed blood dragon, an ancient divine bell, an ancient divine sword, a heaven-opening axe, a cloud peak tower, and a world destruction mirror. I have a sword that can destroy the sky. As soon as he finished speaking, the sword fell. Countless divine lights flew towards the Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race at an astonishing speed. How could the Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race withstand such a terrifying attack? Their eyes widened. Boom! An earth-shattering bang sounded. The clouds moved and the ground shook. The leader of the Wind Wolf tribe, Lang Ba, and the members of the Shao family looked at the scene before them in horror. There were no words that could describe the shock in their hearts. When the sword light slowly dissipated, Lang Ba and the Shao family looked in front of them. However, they discovered that the number of Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tigers attacking had decreased drastically. There were only a few dozen of them left. Moreover, there was a 1,000-meter-long slash mark in front of them. How is this possible? The leader of the Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race shouted. He would never have thought that this would happen. Yili looked indifferently at the frightened face of the Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race's leader. He smiled faintly and slowly said, Now do you know how powerful demons are? The Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race was already scared out of their wits. In this world, good people will be afraid and so will bad people. There's only one kind of person who won't be afraid, and that's the dead. With that, Yili hooked his finger at the remaining Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race members. Come over and let me Yili kill all of you. How could these Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tigers dare to go over? They knew very well that if they went over they would have no chance of survival. Demon King. The eyes of the leader of the Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race were red. He gritted his teeth hatefully. It seemed like he was prepared to risk his life with Yili. Yili smiled faintly. There was no change in his handsome face at all. What is there for you all to hesitate about? Could it be that you all still wish to escape even now? Silence, a deadly silence. When Yili slashed out, the leader of the Wind Wolf tribe, Lang Ba, and the members of the Shao family were already frozen like clay sculptures. They had never seen such a slash since they were born. Demon King Yili at most, well, fight to the death. The leader of the Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race said coldly. Yili smiled and shook his head slightly. A mocking look appeared on his face. You ants want to fight to the death with me? Chapter 765. Is this your escape route? Please reading Omicron N's novel. Omicron M Attack. The leader of the Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race roared angrily. This was the most furious he had ever been since he was born. As the leader of the Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tiger race gave the order, the remaining Tyrant Whale Silver Sun Tigers all flew towards Yili. However, the leader of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race did not come over. Go. Yili exhaled a word softly. Roar. The Apocalypse Legion flew towards the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race. Boom. The Apocalypse Legion and the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race fought. Unfortunately, the leader of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race never expected that his tyrant whale silver sun tiger race could not defeat the Apocalypse Legion. Zombies? The leader of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race took 3 steps back. He remembered that Yili had said that they were zombies. He had never even heard of such terrifying zombies before, let alone seen them. The tyrant whale silver sun tiger kept dying. In the face of the 9 6-tier lord level zombies of the Apocalypse Legion, they were still not enough. The eyes of the leader of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race flashed. Then he gritted his teeth and made a decision. This decision was to run. In the blink of an eye, the leader of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race disappeared on the spot in a flash. Yili had already set his eyes on the leader of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race. Seeing that he actually wanted to escape, Yili could not help but shake his head. Many people or members of the dark race always wanted to escape when facing him. Unfortunately, how could they escape from Yili's palm? Immediately, Yili activated the swift steps and disappeared. The leader of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race ran all the way. He only hated himself for not having 100 legs. Then he could have escaped from this place. Yili's swift steps was naturally much faster than his. Not long after, he caught up to the leader of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race. The Demon King Yili shouldn't have chased after us, right? The leader of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race stopped in his tracks. He took a few deep breaths and sighed endlessly in his heart. As the dignified leader of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race, he did not expect to end up in such a state. Is this your escape route? Suddenly, a lazy voice entered the ears of the leader of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race. What? The tyrant whale silver sun tiger race leader's entire body trembled, and a chill rushed from his tailbone to the top of his head. This was as if he had fallen into an ice cave. He quickly looked in the direction of the voice and saw Yili sitting on a tree in front of him, looking at him indifferently. Demon King Yili. The leader of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race seemed to have been drained of all his strength as he looked at Yili with an ashen face. Demon King Yili, we don't have any deep hatred. As long as you can spare my life, I will definitely repay you in the future. The leader of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race looked at Yili and said. Yili smiled calmly. He sized up the leader of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger and slowly said, Do you think an ant like you deserves to repay me, Yili? The leader of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race took 3 steps back and looked at Yili in shock. Demon King Yili, are we really going to fight to the death? A few seconds later, the leader of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race said coldly. Yili smiled faintly and a playful look appeared on his face. Do you think an ant like you is worthy of fighting with me, Yili? Cut the crap. Come and die. Yili hooked his finger at the leader of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race. The leader of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race knew that he could not escape. He gritted his teeth. Overlord Axe. Chapter 766. The leader of the tyrant whale silver sun. Please reading Omicron N's novel. Omicron M tiger race died. The leader of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race shouted and a black axe appeared in his hand. Demon King Yili, you forced me to do this. The leader of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race glared at Yili. Yili smiled faintly and slowly said to the leader of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race, So what if I force you? You're just an ant. When the tyrant whale silver sun tiger leader heard this, he was incomparably furious. Demon King Yili, I'll fight it out with you. As soon as he finished speaking, the leader of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race pounced at Yili with a black axe. The leader of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race was an 8th tier lord level, while Yili was an 8th tier chosen one. If Yili was an ordinary 8th tier chosen one, then this battle would undoubtedly be like a tiger in the mountains meeting a tiger in the mountains, a dragon in the clouds meeting a dragon in the fog. Unfortunately, Yili was not an ordinary 8th tier chosen one. Just as the leader of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race was only a step away from Yili, the ancient dragon abyss sword had already appeared in his hand. Clang. The leader of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race raised his black axe and struck the immemorial dragon abyss sword heavily. However, the expression of the leader of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race turned pale with fright. Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. The leader of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race shouted. His expression was already extremely terrified. This was because when the black axe struck the immemorial dragon abyss sword, the black axe broke. Yi Li looked at the leader of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race and a playful expression appeared on his face. I've said it before. You're just an ant. Why don't you believe what Yi Li said? When the leader of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race heard this, he looked at Yi Li in horror. Immediately, his pupils constricted because the ancient dragon abyss sword was already stabbing at him. Ali. The speed of Yi Li's sword was too fast. The leader of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race had never seen such a terrifying sword speed. As an 8th tier cultivator, he realized that he could not dodge this sword at all. As the ancient dragon abyss sword stabbed out, the life of the leader of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race would disappear from this world forever. Looking at the corpse of the tyrant whale silver sun tiger race's leader on the ground, Yi Li sighed slightly. I think you should understand the truth. There are some people in this world whom you can't afford to provoke. As soon as he finished speaking, Yi Li placed the ancient dragon abyss sword into the system space and used swift steps to disappear from the spot. Yi Li arrived at the protection city. The members of the Xiao family and the leader of the Wind Wolf tribe, Lang Ba, looked at Yi Li with extreme respect. They knew very well that Yi Li was an existence that they could only look up to in their entire lives. Senior Yu, you've returned. Xiao Yu was the first to speak. Yi Li nodded and looked at Xiao Yu. Come with me to the Demon King Palace. Xiao Yu was stunned. She naturally did not know what kind of place the Demon King Palace was. Senior, the Demon King Palace is... The Xiao family's family head, Xiao Kuang, was the first to ask. Yi Li slowly said, the Demon King Palace is my sect. When Xiao Kuang heard this, his old face lit up with joy. He thought that if his granddaughter went to Senior's sect, her future would definitely be limitless. Yuer, follow Senior to the Demon King Palace. Xiao Yu did not know what to do, so she could only agree. Since that's the case, it's time for us to leave, Yi Li said slowly. Everyone present was stunned. They didn't expect Yi Li to leave so quickly. Chapter 767. The Two Sisters from the East. Please reading Omicron N's novel. Omicron M. Demon King Palace. Leng Shui walked back and forth in the hall, wondering why the Apocalypse Legion had all gone to the northern plains. Did something happen to Yi Li? Then Leng Shui shook her head. She didn't think that something could happen to someone like Yi Li. Senior, nothing must happen to you. Leng Shui muttered to herself. Her fair face looked a little lonely. Do you really not want anything to happen to me? A lazy voice entered Leng Shui's ears. When Leng Shui heard this voice, her pupils could not help but constrict. She was too familiar with this voice. Senior. Yi Li and the Apocalypse Legion had already appeared in front of her. Of course, Yi Li knew that Leng Shui had fallen for her, but he could do nothing about it. There were too many people in this world who liked him. Yi Li, this is my new disciple. Yi Li looked at Leng Shui. Then he looked at Xiao Yu and said, she will be your master from now on. Yes, Senior. Xiao Yu hurriedly nodded. Yi Li leaped and landed on the throne directly above. Leng Shui, I heard that the Demon King Palace has become the strongest force in the Mystic Land? Yi Li looked at Leng Shui. Yes, Senior. One think it won't be long before the Demon King Palace becomes the strongest faction in the Eastern Realm. Yi Li stayed in the Demon King Palace for a month. During this month, he had been cultivating in the Heavenly Tower under the Crooked Tree. The Crooked Tree was very big and was not far from the Demon King Palace. The surrounding scenery was very pleasant. I finally reached the 9th tier chosen one. Yi Li opened his eyes and let out a shaky breath. Sister, what kind of power is the Demon King Palace? I don't know. I heard that it's the strongest faction in the Mystic Land. I've never heard of it before. At this moment, two voices that sounded like orioles leaving the valley entered Yi Li's ears. Yi Li looked in the direction of the voice and saw two girls in front of him. One was about 20 years old and the other was about 17 or 18 years old. What Yi Li did not expect was that one of these two girls was a 5th tier transcender and the other was a tier 4 transcender. Instantly, Yi Li knew that they were definitely not from the Mystic Land. It was impossible for such a genius to exist in the Mystic Land. Sister, there's someone ahead. Qing Ruo pointed at a place. Someone's here. Qing Zhu followed the direction of Qijianji Ruo's finger and saw a man who looked like a beggar. At this point, Qing Zhu's fair face could not help but reveal a hint of disgust. May I ask where the Demon King Palace is? Qing Ruo asked Yi Li sweetly. Why are you looking for the Demon King Palace? Yi Li asked slowly. Qing Zhu snorted and walked in front of Yi Li, looking at him coldly. We're from the Eastern Land and came to the Mystic Land to play. Along the way we heard that the Demon King Palace is very strong. The palace master is some Demon King Yi Li. I also heard that Demon King Yi Li has an Apocalypse Legion. They're all terrifying zombies. What's even more ridiculous is that they say that Demon King Yi Li can fly and jump from tall buildings like walking on flat ground. We came to the Demon King Palace to see how outstanding Demon King Yi Li is. Yi Li smiled to himself. He thought that these two fairy-like girls in front of him should be sisters. One was gentle, while the other was a red chili pepper on a high mountain. It was really interesting. I advise you to go back to where you came from. You are no match for Demon King Yi Li said slowly. Chapter 768, How Dare You Call Me a Stinky Beggar? Please reading Omicron N's novel. Omicron M. Qingzhu was stunned when she heard that. She looked at Yi Li in disgust. Smelly beggar, what do you mean? This time it was Yi Li's turn to be stunned. Stinky beggar? Yi Li was as handsome as jade. How could he be called a beggar? Is there something wrong with your eyes? Shouldn't you ask me why there is such a good-looking person like me in this world? Yi Li looked at Qingzhu in confusion. When Qingzhu heard this, she could not help but be dumbfounded. Even in her dreams, she would not have thought that this stinky beggar would be so thick-skinned. In fact, Yi Li really looked like a beggar now. After a month of continuous cultivation, how could he not look like a beggar? However, it could not hide the strong heroic aura around him. I'm sorry, that's not what my sister meant. Qing Ruo quickly apologized to Yi Li. Roar, why are you wasting your breath on this stinky beggar? Qingzhu looked at Yi Li in disdain. After saying that, Qingzhu mocked Yi Li. Stupid beggar, tell us where the Demon King Palace is, or 111 teach you a lesson. Yi Li laughed secretly. He thought to himself that this girl really had a bad temper. You're coming to the Demon King Palace to challenge Demon King Yi Li? Yi Li asked. That's right. We just want to see how terrifying Demon King Yi Li, who is feared by everyone in the Mystic Land, is. Qingzhu said coldly. Yi Li looked at the sun in the sky and then at his hand. Actually, I am Demon King Yi Li. What? Qingzhu and Qing Ruo were stunned. They did not expect Yi Li to say such a thing. Stupid beggar, I think you won't shed a tear until you see your coffin. Qingzhu said coldly to Yi Li. Yi Li smiled calmly. I will never fear even in the face of death because I'll never be in that situation. You? Qingzhu really did not expect a beggar to be so arrogant. It was just the small mystic land. Are you really Demon King Yi Li? Qing Ruo's fair face was filled with doubt. Roar, how could he be the Demon King Yi Li? He's clearly a stinky beggar. Qingzhu said. Yi Li was stunned. Why didn't they believe them? He was really the Demon King Yi Li? The Demon King Palace is there. You guys can go over, Yi Li said lightly. Qingzhu sneered when he heard that. Stupid beggar, at least you have some foresight. Otherwise, you would have ended up in a terrible state. Immediately, Qingzhu and Qing Ruo headed towards the Demon King Palace. Yi Li looked at the backs of the two girls and couldn't help but shake his head, thinking that these two girls were quite interesting. However, Yi Li was a little puzzled. He looked like a prince in a fairy tale. Why did Qingzhu call him a stinky beggar? Then he walked to a spring. It didn't matter if he didn't look, but when he did, he was shocked. Only then did he understand why Qingzhu called him a stinky beggar. It turned out that he really did look like a beggar. Without thinking too much, Yi Li bought a set of clothes from the Point Mall and took a shower. The faint sunlight shone on Yi Li's body. He was dressed in green and stood upright. Strangely, after he got dressed up, both Yi Li and the sun became brighter. However, no one knew if the sun lit up Yi Li or Yi Li lit up the sun. Yi Li thought about how he was now a 9th-tier chosen one. He had to gather zombies to upgrade the Apocalypse Legion. Otherwise, the army's strength would not be able to keep up. The geniuses of the Eastern Land were actually so powerful. The Eastern Land must be much stronger than the Mystic Land. If one did not have powerful strength, he would only die in the post-apocalyptic world. Chapter 769, I am Demon King Yi Li. Please reading Omicron N's novel. Omicron M. Qingzhu and Qing Ruo arrived outside the Demon King Palace. Sister, is this the Demon King Palace? Qing Ruo's fair face was a little shocked. She thought to herself that this Demon King Palace was too terrifying. It looked so majestic and the spiritual energy was extremely dense here. Qingzhu sneered as a look of disdain flashed across his eyes. It's just a small faction in the Mystic Land. What's there to make a fuss about? Sister, I think we should be more careful. If the Demon King Palace is very strong, then we... Before Qujinju Ruo could finish her sentence, Qingzhu interrupted her. Roar, we are from the Silver Blizzard Palace. We are the strongest geniuses in the world, Qing Zhu said to Qing Ruo. Immediately, Qing Zhu and Qing Ruo continued to move forward. Stop. What are you doing? Suddenly, a cold shout entered Qing Zhu and Qing Ruo's ears. The two girls stopped in their tracks and sized up the disciples in front of them disdainfully. Get out of the way, Qing Zhu said coldly. These people were stunned. They were all disciples of the Demon King Palace. It had to be known that the current Demon King Palace was the strongest faction in the Mystic Land, and there was no one else. Do you know that this is the Demon King Palace? A Tier 4 evolved being disciple shouted. I'm sorry, can you report to your hall master that we want to challenge him? Qing Ruo looked at the few disciples in front of her seriously and said. The few Demon King Palace disciples guarding the door were shocked. How could they have expected Qing Ruo to say such a thing? Ha ha ha. Then the disciples of the Demon King Palace burst into laughter, as if they had heard the funniest joke in the world. They want to challenge the Demon King, ha ha ha. There are always so many ants in this world. Don't you know who you are? You actually want to challenge the Demon King. Qing Zhu was a hot-tempered person. How could she bear it when she heard this? In an instant, she only left an afterimage on the spot. Boom. With a palm strike, a few disciples guarding the Demon King Palace were sent flying and landed heavily on the ground. These disciples also knew that the two women were not to be trifled with, so they struggled to get up from the ground. You wait. With that, the disciples ran in. Qing Zhu could not help but snort coldly when she saw these disciples covering their heads and fleeing like rats. I originally thought that the Demon King Palace had some strength, but now it seems that they're all a bunch of snakes and rats. Yili looked at the backs of the two girls. He smiled to himself and slowly said, the Demon King Palace is not a bunch of snakes and rats. The two girls quickly turned around and saw Yili slowly walking towards them. Who are you? Qing Zhu stared at Yili. Sister, his voice sounds a little familiar. Qing Ruo said in astonishment. Yili smiled lightly. You forgot so quickly. You just called me a stinky beggar. What? Qing Zhu and Qing Ruo were stunned. They looked at Yili in shock. He was clearly a stinky beggar just now. Why did he become a different person now? The current stinky beggar was as handsome as Jade. Are you really the person just now? Qing Ruo's fair face was filled with doubt. Yili smiled faintly. That's right. Qing Zhu snorted again. So what? Are you also a disciple of the Demon King Palace? Yili shook his head slowly. Didn't I tell you? I'm the Demon King Yili. Chapter 770. You're really the Demon King Yili? He's reading on Novel Cool. Omicron M. Qing Zhu glanced at Yili. She really did not understand why this person in front of her was so thick-skinned. I'm telling you, I'll give you 1 second to disappear from my sight. Otherwise your outcome. Qing Zhu did not continue. It meant that he could understand it on his own. You can't be the Demon King Yili. I heard that the Demon King Yili has 3 heads and 6 arms. You're so good-looking. How can you be the Demon King Yili? Qing Ruo smiled at Yili. Yili was stunned. Who was spreading this nonsense? He had 3 heads and 6 arms? At this moment, Leng Shui arrived with the disciples of the Demon King Palace. Who dares to cause trouble in my Demon King Palace? Leng Shui said coldly. Qing Zhu did not continue to look at Yili. She looked at Leng Shui and the disciples of the Demon King Palace. Which one of you is Demon King Yili? As soon as these words were spoken, Leng Shui and the disciples of the Demon King Palace were all stunned. They were wondering what was wrong with this person. Wasn't Demon King Yili beside you? Yili slowly walked towards the people from the Demon King Palace. When he reached Leng Shui, he slowly turned around and looked at Qing Zhu and Qing Ruo indifferently. Senior, why are you with them? Leng Shui looked at Yili in confusion. Yili smiled and slowly said, I just think they're quite interesting. Qing Zhu and Qing Ruo were still in a daze as they looked at Yili in shock. Who exactly are you? Yili smiled faintly and said to Qing Zhu and Qing Ruo, didn't I say that I'm the Demon King Yili? It's just that you didn't believe me. That's right, this is our Demon King Lord Yili. Leng Shui also said coldly to the two women. What? When Qing Zhu and Qing Ruo heard this, they were really stunned. It was because they would never have dreamed that he was really the Demon King Yili. Are you really Demon King Yili? Qing Zhu still looked at Yili in disbelief. Leng Shui snorted coldly. How can that be fake? Hearing this answer, Qing Zhu and Qing Ruo couldn't help but look at each other. The rumor they heard was that Demon King Yili had 3 heads and 6 arms and was extremely ugly, but the person in front of them, this was a face that they had never seen since they were born. At the same time, They did not understand why there was such a good-looking person in this world. A moment later, Qing Zhu and Qing Ruo finally came back to their senses. Qing Zhu stared at Yi Li and said coldly, "Roar and I came to the Demon King Palace to see Demon King Yi Li. Since you are Demon King Yi Li, let me see how capable you are." "That's right. Sister and I are here to challenge you," Qing Ruo also said. However, to the surprise of the two women, their words caused a wave of earth-shattering laughter. Ha ha ha. Everyone from the Demon King Palace burst into laughter. They were laughing so hard that they could not even straighten their backs. "What are you laughing at?" Qing Zhu said coldly. Even if she used all her strength, she would not be able to figure out why these people in front of her were laughing. "Don't you think it's ridiculous? You want to challenge a senior with just the two of you?" Leng Shui looked at the two women disdainfully. Qing Zhu and Qing Ruo were stunned. They thought that they must not know their identities. Otherwise, they would have been scared out of their wits. "Do you know who we are? Who are you guys? I really am interested to know." Yi Li looked at Qing Zhu and Qing Ruo indifferently. Chapter 771. I give you this chance to challenge me. Yi's reading on Novel Cool. Omicron M. Qing Zhu looked at Yi Li proudly. "Demon King Yi Li, since you want to know our identities so much, I'll tell you. We are from the Silver Blizzard Palace, a supreme power in the Eastern Land." In Qing Zhu and Qing Ruo's opinion, when Demon King Yi Li and the people from the Demon King Palace heard the word Silver Blizzard Palace, they would all be shocked. However, when they saw the expressions on the faces of Demon King Yi Li and the others, they realized that not only were they wrong, but they were also completely wrong. "What kind of power is the Silver Blizzard Palace? Why haven't one heard of it before?" She said, "It's from the Eastern Land. Most importantly, I've never heard of any faction in the Eastern Land." Everyone in the Demon King Palace started whispering. Qing Zhu and Qing Ruo were stunned. Only then did they know why Demon King Yi Li and the people from the Demon King Palace were not afraid. It turned out that they did not know about the Silver Blizzard Palace at all. You guys. The Silver Blizzard Palace is a supreme force in the Eastern Land." Yi Li smiled calmly and looked at Qing Zhu indifferently. "Unfortunately, this is the Mystic Land." As soon as these words were spoken, Qing Zhu and Qing Ruo could not help but tremble. They widened their eyes and looked at Yi Li. "Didn't you want to challenge me, Yi Li? I'll give you a chance now," Yi Li said to the two girls. "Demon King Yi Li, are you really ready? We are very strong." Qing Zhu's fair face revealed an extremely proud expression. Yi Li's handsome face was very calm. He said slowly, "You two come at me together. 111 use one finger." "What did you say?" Qing Zhu and Qing Ruo were stunned. They had never seen someone as arrogant as Yi Li. "Demon King Yi Li, don't you think you're too arrogant?" Qing Zhu stared at Yi Li and said firmly. Yi Li smiled again. "I, Yi Li, am arrogant. What can you do? I'm afraid you don't know that in my eyes, you are as weak as ants." Qing Zhu had had a bad temper since she was born. Now that she heard Yi Li's words, how could she tolerate it? "Demon King Yi Li, I'll teach you a lesson." As soon as she finished speaking, Qing Zhu raised her palm and flew towards Yi Li. Her speed was a little too fast. Unfortunately, Qing Zhu was only a 5th-tier transcender. In front of Yi Li, she was really pitifully weak. Qing Zhu's palm was filled with purple gold spiritual qi. It was a shocking sight. Boom. When she was only a few steps away from Yi Li, Qing Zhu's palm struck towards Yi Li's body. However, what Qing Zhu did not expect was that just as her palm was about to touch Yi Li's body, Yi Li suddenly disappeared on the spot. What? Qing Zhu was shocked. She was shocked because she realized that she could not catch Yi Li's speed. When Yi Li appeared again, he was already behind Qing Zhu. "Sister, watch your back." Qing Ruo hurriedly shouted at Qing Zhu. Only then did Qing Zhu react. She quickly turned around, but when she did, she was shocked. Yi Li had already raised his finger. Terrifying white spiritual energy wrapped around his finger, making one's guts rupture. "I have a finger that can pierce through the sky." As soon as he finished speaking, an extremely terrifying finger rushed towards Qing Zhu. Qing Zhu was shocked. She realized that she could not dodge this speed at all. She froze on the spot. Chapter 772. Senior asked me to bring you food. Ease reading on Novel Cool. Omicronim, sister. Qing Ruo shouted. Qing Zhu was horrified. She had already closed her eyes. She dared to swear that she had never seen such a terrifying attack in her life. She originally thought that she would definitely die, but it was a pity that she never expected Yi Li to stop his fingers when he was just a hair's breadth away from her head. Silence, a deadly silence. "Do you still want to challenge me, Demon King Yi Li?" Yi Li said slowly. Qingzhu was shocked. She opened her eyes and looked at Yili in shock. You, how can you be so strong? Qingzhu could not believe it. She really could not believe it. Yili looked at the sun in the sky and slowly said, well, not very strong. Qing Ruo had already collapsed to the ground. She had originally thought that her sister, Senior Demon King, thank you for not killing my sister. Qing Ruo hurriedly walked in front of Yili and said gratefully. Yili smiled. His handsome face was very calm as he said lightly, I'm not interested in killing ants like you. As soon as these words were spoken, Qingzhu and Qing Ruo could not help but tremble. However, they did not know how to refute. Yili's attack just now was too terrifying. They only felt that at that moment, they had entered the purgatory. One want to be your disciple. Suddenly, Qingzhu looked at Yili firmly. Yili was stunned. He did not expect Qingzhu to have the courage to go higher. There's no need to acknowledge me as your master. You can join the Demon King Palace, Yili said calmly. No. I want to acknowledge you as my master. Qingzhu's fair face was incomparably determined. Yili was stunned again. He didn't expect this girl to be so determined. Not bad. Senior Demon King, one also want to acknowledge you as my master. Qing Ruo also said firmly to Yili. Yili shook his head slightly. I'm not going to take you in as my disciples. If you don't accept us as your disciples, well, stand here forever. Qingzhu said. Yili yawned and said slowly, you can stand here if you want to. Then Yili and the people from the Demon King Palace walked towards the Demon King Palace. Qingzhu and Qing Ruo looked at the backs of Yili and the people from the Demon King Palace. They could not help but clench their teeth. Sister, are we really going to stand here forever? Qing Ruo looked at Qingzhu and said. Yes. Ruo, you don't know, but in that moment of life and death I actually felt my soul trembling. Demon King Yili is really too strong. Just like that, Qingzhu and Qing Ruo stood in front of the Demon King Palace for 3 days and 3 nights without eating or drinking. Demon King Palace. Senior, they have been standing for 3 days and 3 nights. Look. Leng Shui looked at Yili and asked. Yili smiled. He originally thought that rich young ladies like Qingzhu and Qing Ruo would not have such perseverance. He did not expect that they would stand for 3 days and 3 nights. Go and give them something to eat, Yili said. Leng Shui nodded and immediately led a few Demon King Palace disciples down the mountain. Not long after, Leng Shui and a few Demon King Palace disciples arrived at the foot of the mountain. Senior asked me to bring you some food. Leng Shui got someone to pass the food and water to Qingzhu and Qing Ruo. But to Leng Shui's surprise, Qingzhu and Qing Ruo actually didn't seem to appreciate her kindness. This caused her to be slightly displeased. Do you really think of yourselves as important figures? Leng Shui stared at the two women as she spoke. Chapter 773 You think I lie? He's reading on Novel Cool. Omicron M. Qingzhu and Qing Ruo were stunned when they heard this. They raised their heads and stared at Leng Shui. Then who are you? Qingzhu glared at Leng Shui. Leng Shui smiled when she heard that. I'm the master of all the disciples of the Demon King Palace. Qingzhu and Qing Ruo could not help but be stunned again. So what? We want to worship Senior Demon King, not you. You. Leng Shui was a little angry. She did not expect these two girls to be so stubborn. Senior won't take you as his disciples. If I were you, I would go back to where I came from. Why are you here looking for this torture? Leng Shui looked at Qingzhu and Qing Ruo mockingly. What does it have to do with you? Qingzhu said coldly. Leng Shui thought to herself that it was fine if she did not listen to her kind advice, but she actually said such infuriating words. Are you guys asking for a beating? Leng Shui stared at the two women. We're not asking for a beating. We just want to acknowledge Demon King Yili as our master. A stubborn expression appeared on Qing Ruo's fair face. Qingzhu sneered and looked at Leng Shui. I'm afraid you're not our match. Huh. Leng Shui wanted to laugh. She really wanted to laugh. Naturally, after Yili gave her the upgrade potion, she was now a Tier 1 chosen one. Qingzhu and Qing Ruo were only 5th tier surpassers and Tier 4 transcender. They were not enough in front of her. If you don't believe me, give it a try. After saying that, Leng Shui hooked her finger at the two girls. Seeing this, Qingzhu was furious and immediately attacked Leng Shui. Unfortunately, how could Qingzhu, a 5th tier surpasser, be Leng Shui's match? In an instant, Qingzhu was defeated. When Qing Ruo saw this, she also prepared to attack Leng Shui. Qing Ruo was only a Tier 4 transcender, so she was even less of a match for Leng Shui. Stop it. Suddenly, a lazy voice entered the girls' ears. The girls looked in the direction of the voice and saw Yili sitting on a tree not far away. A playful look appeared on his handsome face as he looked at them indifferently. Of course they didn't know when Yi Li arrived. For a moment Qing Zhu and Qing Ruo were stunned. Demon King Yi Li, are you willing to accept us as your disciples? Qing Zhu looked at Yi Li firmly. Yi Li smiled and his hair started to move even though there was no wind. He looked at Qing Zhu. I remember you saying that you're a disciple of the Silver Blizzard Palace. You already have a sect, so why do you still want to acknowledge me, Yi Li, as your master? Obviously, this was something that Yi Li could not understand no matter what. Demon King Yi Li, Roar and I actually escaped to the Mystic Land. Because Roar and I offended the Grand Elder of the Silver Blizzard Palace, we were chased all the way. As they spoke, Qing Zhu and Qing Ruo's fair faces began to look extremely sad. Yi Li secretly smiled and thought that it was probably not as simple as offending the Grand Elder. Otherwise, why would he have to chase them all the way from the east to the Mystic Land? I see that your talents are not bad and your strength is not bad. Yi Li will reluctantly accept you. Yi Li said calmly to Qing Zhu and Qing Ruo. Qing Zhu and Qing Ruo could not help but be shocked when they heard this. The two women looked at Yi Li in shock as if they could not believe it. Senior Demon King, are you really willing to accept us as your disciples? Qing Ruo's fair face was very stunned. Yi Li smiled and looked at Qing Ruo indifferently. Do you think someone like me, Yi Li, would lie? Chapter 774, Golden Sky Bull Tribe Ease reading on Novel Cool. Omicron M. Leng Shui was a little unwilling. She looked at Yi Li in shock. It was obvious that she did not expect Yi Li to agree to take them as his disciples. Senior, did you really agree? Leng Shui looked at Yi Li. Yi Li nodded and said to Leng Shui, I have nothing to do anyway. It's not a bad idea to take in 2 disciples. In fact, Yi Li's heart was as clear as a mirror. The reason why Qing Zhu and Qing Ruo wanted to acknowledge him as their master was because he wanted him to protect them after he displayed his strength. After all, they were being hunted down. Qing Zhu and Qing Ruo became Yi Li's disciples. Everyone in the Demon King Palace knew. Master, didn't they say that you have the Apocalypse Legion? Can you let us take a look? Qing Ruo said sweetly to Yi Li. Qing Zhu also looked at Yi Li curiously. Do you really want to see it? Yi Li smiled calmly. Qing Zhu and Qing Ruo nodded, their eyes filled with curiosity. Immediately, Yi Li released the Apocalypse Legion from the system space. Fist-God Zombie Ada, Ice Zombie Hongya, Iron-Legged Zombie by Wawa, Petrified Zombie Yutong, Swallowing Zombie Bone Maiden, Ghost Sword Zombie Achi, Divine Spear Zombie Longyu, Zombie Queen Imoyu, and Doll Zombie Yuju. The 9 Lord-level zombies of the Apocalypse Legion appeared in front of Qing Zhu and Qing Ruo. Qing Zhu and Qing Ruo were both stunned. They were incomparably shocked. They thought that this was the Apocalypse Legion. They could not help but feel shocked when they looked at the Apocalypse Legion. Now, the reputation of Demon King Yi Li and the Apocalypse Legion in the Mystic Land could be said to be thunderous. Could be said that everyone knew about them. Anyone who mentioned Demon King Yi Li and the Apocalypse Legion would be terrified. A month later. Lord Demon King. Lord Demon King. A disciple suddenly rushed into the hall, his face filled with shock. What happened? Leng Shui quickly asked. A large number of Dark Race members and zombies have been discovered. They're heading towards the Demon King Palace. What? Leng Shui's expression changed. However, Yi Li showed a playful smile on his face. As the saying goes, a tree wants to be quiet, but the wind doesn't stop. He was thinking about where to find zombies to upgrade the Apocalypse Legion. And now the zombies had come knocking on his door. There's a path to heaven, but you don't take it. There is no gate to hell, but you force your way in. How many zombies are there? Yi Li looked at the messenger. Lord Demon King, I'm afraid there are tens of thousands of zombies. The disciple of the Demon King Palace hurriedly replied. Seeing this, Yi Li's handsome face lit up. Get ready for battle, Yi Li said slowly. A few hours later, countless Dark Race members and zombies appeared at the foot of the Demon King Mountain. There were so many of them that it looked like a black cloud was pressing down on them. Where is Demon King Yi Li? Suddenly, a thunderous voice entered everyone's ears. Everyone from the Demon King Palace looked at the Dark Race member who spoke and realized that it was a bull, a golden bull. It's the Golden Sky Bull Tribe. Leng Shui said to Yi Li. The Golden Sky Bull Tribe is very powerful in the Mystic Land, but they haven't appeared in a long time, Leng Shui continued. At this moment, the Golden Sky Bull Tribe and tens of thousands of zombies were all ready to fight as they stared at the people from the Demon King Palace. When Qing Zhu and Qing Ruo saw this scene, they could not help but be shocked. Demon King Yi Li, what's the matter? Yi Li looked at the Golden Sky Bull indifferently. Chapter 775. The Angry Golden Sky Bull Tribe Ease reading on Novel Cool. Omicron. Hundreds of Golden Sky Bull Tribe members stared at Yi Li. I didn't expect that someone in the Mystic Land would actually claim to be the king after our Golden Sky Bull Tribe hasn't appeared for a long time. What a joke. An 8th tier Lord level Golden Sky Bull stared at Yi Li. This 8th tier Golden Sky Bull was the leader of the Golden Sky Bull Tribe. The Golden Sky Bull's entire bodies were golden, their bodies strong and robust. They had a pair of horns that shot into the sky, and held a large white bone club in their hands. It was a shocking sight. Demon King Yi Li, one heard that you're the strongest person in the Mystic Land now? You even said that you're not human but a demon? Ha ha ha. The leader of the Golden Sky Bull Tribe laughed and said to Yi Li, demons only exist in the land of sin. How dare you call yourself a demon? When Yi Li heard this, he could not help but narrow his eyes. There were demons in the land of sin? This was something he did not know before. Everyone from the Demon King Palace, Qing Zhu, and Qing Ruo were stunned. The people from the Demon King Palace had naturally never heard of the demon race. As for Qing Zhu and Qing Ruo, they knew about the land of sin and also knew about demons. The land of sin and the Eastern realm were separated by the sea. It was countless times more terrifying than the Eastern, Southern, Western, and Northern realms. As for the demons, they were the most powerful race in the land of sin. Even the dark races trembled before them. How is it, Demon King Yi Li? Do you want me to attack your sect or do you want to kowtow to me 3 times? The leader of the Golden Sky Bull Tribe looked at Yi Li with extreme disdain. Arrogant, absolutely arrogant. Everyone from the Demon King Palace was furious because they had never seen such an arrogant dark race member. They all looked at Yi Li to see what he had to say. However, to everyone's surprise, there was no change in Yi Li's expression. It was as if nothing had happened. Yi Li looked at the sun in the sky. After a few seconds, he looked at the leader of the Golden Sky Bull Tribe and slowly said, "Why did you choose to kill yourself?" What? The Golden Sky Bull Tribe was stunned. It was obvious that they didn't know what Yi Li meant. Demon King Yi Li, what do you mean? The leader of the Golden Sky Bull Tribe stared at Yi Li. He didn't understand why the Demon King Yi Li could still be so calm at this time. However, Yi Li smiled calmly and looked at the leader of the Golden Sky Bull Tribe calmly. You came to find trouble with me, the Demon King Yi Li. What's the difference between that and suicide? As soon as these words were spoken, the entire Golden Sky Bull Tribe was furious. The leader of the Golden Sky Bull Tribe laughed coldly. As expected of Demon King Yi Li, your tongue is indeed not something we can match. One just don't know if your strength is proportional to your eloquence. Yi Li smiled again and said leisurely to the leader of the Golden Sky Bull Tribe, how can a dark race idiot like you change? Only death can change you. When the Golden Sky Bull Tribe heard this, they were furious. They gritted their teeth and stared at Yi Li. Demon King Yi Li, one only wanted to teach you a lesson, but now it seems that you have no choice but to die. The leader of the Golden Sky Bull Tribe shouted angrily. Is that so? Then should I, Yi Li, thank you? Yi Li smiled and continued, do you believe that one can let you see their corpses? The leader of the Golden Sky Bull Tribe's expression turned cold as he said coldly, what did you say? So you're not only a pitifully weak ant but you're also deaf? Yi Li looked at the leader of the Golden Sky Bull Tribe playfully. Chapter 776. Keep my word. Ease reading on Novel Cool. Omicron. When the leader of the Golden Sky Bull Tribe heard this, he couldn't take it anymore. He raised the white bone club in his hand and suddenly attacked Yi Li. Yi Li smiled coldly. And the Demon King Yi Li, do you think I'm afraid of you? Swish. A terrifying dragon cry sounded in everyone's ears. Everyone took a closer look. It didn't matter if they didn't look, but when they did, they were all shocked. They saw a 5-clawed blood dragon circling above Yi Li. Looking at the ancient dragon abyss sword in Yi Li's hand, they were all so frightened that they took 3 steps back. Just by looking at this sword, they felt like they were in purgatory. Clang. With the sound of weapons colliding, everyone looked at Yi Li and the leader of the Golden Sky Bull Tribe. However, when he took a look, his soul almost left his body. What? The bone club in the Golden Sky Bull Tribe leader's hand had already shattered into pieces and turned into dust. How is this possible? The leader of the Golden Sky Bull Tribe was stunned. His pupils began to contract rapidly. He had never seen such a sharp weapon before. Demon King Yi Li, the sword in your hand. Before the leader of the Golden Sky Bull Tribe could finish speaking, he was interrupted by Yi Li. This sword is called the Ancient Dragon Abyss Sword. It's also a sword that can kill you. Then Yi Li kicked the leader of the Golden Sky Bull Tribe heavily. The leader of the Golden Sky Bull tribe was unable to react in time and was instantly sent flying by Yi Li's kick. Boom. The leader of the Golden Sky Bull tribe landed heavily on the ground, creating a deep pit. The people from the Demon King Palace and the Golden Sky Bull tribe were all shocked to the extreme. They hurriedly looked at the deep pit. Splurt. The sound of blood spurting out entered everyone's ears. Then the leader of the Golden Sky Bull tribe crawled out of the deep pit in an extremely sorry state. Yi Li looked at the leader of the Golden Sky Bull tribe indifferently and slowly said, "You were already dead, but Yi Li didn't choose to kill you because I just said that one wanted you to see their corpses." As soon as he finished speaking, before the leader of the Golden Sky Bull tribe could react, Yi Li slashed out. Sky Sword Art. The divine skill, the heavenly sword technique, slashed out. Countless divine lights burst out from the ancient dragon abyss sword. Its speed was already like lightning, making it impossible for anyone to dodge. When the Golden Sky Bull tribe saw such an attack, their faces were filled with extreme shock. Instantly, screams shook the heavens and the earth. After the divine light disappeared, he looked at the location of the Golden Sky Bull tribe and found that there was only an indescribable slash. The ground was filled with the corpses of the Golden Sky Bull tribe. The leader of the Golden Sky Bull tribe was extremely shocked. He kept retreating. He saw a scene that would never happen in his dreams. Yi Li smiled faintly. There was no change in his handsome face at all. He looked at the Golden Ox tribe and slowly said, "I told you I would let you see their bodies. Do you believe me now?" Not only the leader of the Golden Sky Bull tribe, but even the people from the Demon King Palace were scared out of their wits when they saw this scene. When the leader of the Golden Sky Bull tribe heard Yi Li's words, he was even more terrified. Demon King Yi Li, how could the leader of the Golden Sky Bull tribe be able to speak a complete sentence at this moment? Yi Li smiled and said slowly, "Since you've already seen their corpses, it's your turn next." With that, Yi Li slashed out with the ancient dragon abyss sword. Chapter 777. You may have a good plan, but I have a way to deal with it. Ease reading on Novel Cool. Yi Li slashed out with the ancient dragon abyss sword in his hand. What kind of words could describe the supreme sword light of this sword? When the leader of the Golden Sky Bull tribe saw the supreme sword light coming towards him, he sucked in a breath of cold air in fear. He dodged left and right. After all, he was an 8th tier Lord level Dark Race member. In the end, he still managed to dodge Yi Li's sword. At the same time, the leader of the Golden Sky Bull tribe was extremely furious. "Demon King Yi Li, you're trying to kill us all." The Golden Sky Bull tribe leader's expression was extremely cold. It seemed like he was prepared to fight Yi Li to the death. Attack. Immediately, the leader of the Golden Sky Bull tribe roared angrily, and tens of thousands of zombies began to attack. "Don't touch them," Yi Li said slowly to Leng Shui. Leng Shui was a little stunned. She didn't understand why Yi Li didn't let them attack. However, since it was Yi Li's order, she naturally wouldn't disobey it. "Apocalypse Legion, attack," Yi Li said to the Apocalypse Legion. Roar. The 9 zombies of the Apocalypse Legion began to attack. The entire scene instantly became chaotic. Heaven and earth Tao. With a loud shout from the leader of the Golden Sky Bull tribe, his golden body began to expand rapidly. In the end, it became dozens of feet long. It was really shocking. "Demon King Yi Li, one want you dead," the leader of the Golden Sky Bull tribe said coldly. As soon as he finished speaking, the leader of the Golden Sky Bull tribe raised his fist and punched Yi Li fiercely. This punch swept over as if it had pushed away space. It looked terrifying. Yi Li smiled coldly, thinking that you could have lived well, but you offended me. "Demon King Yi Li, there's a path to heaven, but you don't take it. There is no gate to hell, but you force your way in." Swish. Yi Li slashed out with the ancient dragon abyss sword, and a supreme sword light flew towards the huge fist. Boom. In an instant, a thunderous voice entered everyone's ears, and the ground began to tremble. The Golden Sky Bull tribe leader's huge fist and the supreme sword light collided heavily. "Alf!" The leader of the Golden Sky Bull tribe suddenly let out a violent scream. The scream was really terrifying. Yi Li thought that if it was an ordinary weapon, he would not be able to do anything to the leader of the Golden Sky Bull tribe. Unfortunately, was the ancient dragon abyss sword an ordinary weapon? This was a supreme divine weapon that was fused together from the 10 great divine weapons of the primordial era. Even a god or a Buddha wouldn't be able to stop it. The Golden Sky Bull John's leader's huge fist was already gone. He looked simply miserable. "Yi Li." The eyes of the leader of the Golden Sky Bull tribe were red, as if he wanted to eat Yi Li. Dominating Heaven Bull Fist. After a loud shout, a huge fist condensed from evil light smashed towards Yi Li. Yi Li looked at such an attack and smiled to himself. He admitted that the leader of the Golden Sky Bull tribe had some strength, but it was still not enough in front of Yi Li. Even if you have a good plan, I don't have a way to deal with it. Sky-severing sword. The divine skill, the heaven-severing sword, was released. A divine sword condensed from various divine lights shot towards the huge fist that soared into the sky. The divine sword and the huge fist were about to collide. The originally bright sky became covered in dark clouds. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded. Everyone present stopped fighting and looked at the scene in the air. A corpse slowly fell from the sky. Chapter 778, Heavenly Fragrance in Ease reading on Novelcool. Omicron. Of course, this corpse was not Yi Li's corpse. The corpse of the Golden Sky Bull clan's leader fell heavily to the ground. It was a tragic sight. Yi Li's handsome face didn't change at all. It was as if nothing had happened. The people from the Demon King Palace could no longer describe the shock in their hearts with words. At this time, the Apocalypse Legion had also defeated countless zombies. Yi Li opened the synthesis grid in his mind and began to batch synthesis these zombies. Soon, tens of thousands of zombies were synthesized by Yi Li. Ding! Alda has been upgraded to a 5th tier Lord level zombie. Hongya has been upgraded to a 7th tier Lord level zombie. Ding! Congratulations, host, for obtaining a chance to draw a random prize. Hearing this, Yi Li couldn't help but show a playful smile. He thought that when luck came, it was like chewing gum and couldn't be stopped. Without thinking too much, Yi Li used this lottery chance. The virtual pointer began to spin on the roulette wheel. A few seconds later, the pointer stopped. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the opportunity to upgrade all zombie skills. Hearing the system's voice, Yi Li couldn't help but sigh. He knew he would always get what he needed. Then, Yi Li began to upgrade the skills of the 9 Lord-level zombies of the Apocalypse Legion. Currently, the skills of the Apocalypse Legion were all heaven-grade skills. Zombie skill upgrade begins 10%, 30%, 60%, 100%. Zombie skill upgrade begins. 1. Yi Li checked the skills of the Apocalypse Legion. Ada, Divine Fire Fist Tyrant Hongya, Heaven Breaking Ice by Wawa, Fiery Tyrant Foot Yutong, Moon Reflection Petrification Bone Maiden, 7 Extreme Heaven Swallowing Technique, Ah Chi, Life Reaping Lightning Sword Long Yu, Absolute Heaven Spear Mou, Dragon Elephant Fist Yuju, Heaven Shaking Palm. The skills of the Apocalypse Legion had all been upgraded to heaven-defying level. Yi Li looked very satisfied. He thought that Ada and Hongya were both 7th tier Lord level zombies now. Now, he had to let the Apocalypse Legion attract zombies. Yi Li gave an order to the Apocalypse Legion. As for the people from the Demon King Palace, they were completely dumbfounded as they looked at Yi Li in shock. Master, what divine skill did you use just now? Qing Ruo asked in astonishment. Qing Zhu and Qing Ruo came from the Eastern Land. The Eastern Land was countless times stronger than the Mystic Land. You just need to know that it's a strong skill, Yi Li said slowly. Qing Zhu and Qing Ruo were stunned. They looked at Yi Li in shock. They had never seen such a domineering person. They could not understand why there was such a domineering person in this world. There's nothing else. Let's go back, Yi Li said to the people from the Demon King Palace. News of this battle spread. The entire Mystic Land was in an uproar as they discussed this shocking battle. The Demon King Yi Li and the Apocalypse Legion were even more famous. From women and children to children, everyone knew about the Demon King Yi Li and the Apocalypse Legion. These few days Yi Li had nothing to do, so he brought the girls to the most famous inn in the Mystic Land. This inn was in the center of the Mystic Land. It was called the Heavenly Fragrance Inn. Senior, this inn is very expensive, Leng Shui said to Yi Li. Yi Li smiled. He thought that Leng Shui was not bad and knew how to worry about money. However, was he someone who lacked money? Immediately Yi Li, Leng Shui, Chen Tian, Xiaoyu, Qing Zhu, and Qing Ruo walked towards the Heavenly Fragrance Inn. The Heavenly Fragrance Inn was an 18-story building. Each floor was more expensive than the last. Those who could enter the inn were all high-ranking officials and nobles. Chapter 779, Get out of my way before I say it a third time. Ease reading on Novelcool. Omicron. I heard that Wang Yun of the Wang family of the Mystic Land booked all the Heavenly Fragrance Inn. Huh. How much would that cost? Is that young Master Wang someone who lacks money? You have to know that his father is ranked second on the Mystic Land's divine list. Outside Heavenly Fragrance Inn, all the high-ranking officials and nobles began to discuss. Second place on the divine list? Then who was number one on the divine list? It was none other than the peerless demon king. Yi Li. Stop. You can't go in. The few people who were about to enter heavenly fragrance in were stopped. Why can't we go in? Qing Zhu looked coldly at the person blocking the way. The person blocking the way was a middle-aged man, and his strength was actually quite good. He was a Tier 1 transcender. I'm sorry, this inn has already been booked today, the middle-aged man said coldly. The people outside Heavenly Fragrance Inn also sighed. They had come from afar to try the delicacies of Heavenly Fragrance Inn, but they did not expect it to be reserved by someone. What could they do? They were helpless. I heard that it's young Master Wang's birthday, so he booked the Sky Fragrance Inn. Yi Li looked at the middle-aged man in front of him indifferently and smiled. He thought that no one in the mystic land would dare to block his way. Get out of the way, Yi Li said to the middle-aged man. As soon as these words were spoken, not only the middle-aged man, but even the people from the Heavenly Fragrance Inn could not help but be stunned. They did not expect these people to be so powerful. One had to know that the Heaven Taste Inn had a background. It was owned by a powerhouse ranked third on the Mystic Land's divine list. Get out of your way? The middle-aged man sneered. He had been a guard at the inn for a few years, but he had never seen anyone who dared to cause trouble for the inn. Do you know what this place is? The middle-aged man looked at Yi Li and the others mockingly. Yi Li smiled faintly. There was no change in his handsome face at all. They'll say it again. Move aside. Don't make me say it a third time. Yi Li looked at the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man and everyone else were shocked. Who is this person? Could it be that he has a shocking background? Even if there is, could it be that his background is greater than the people behind Heavenly Fragrance Inn and the Wang family? I see this person surrounded by beautiful women. He's just a young master from a prominent family. How would he know anything about the ways of the world? Everyone outside the inn shook their heads and sighed because they knew that Yi Li would definitely end up in a terrible state. Brat, what can you do if I don't move aside? As a Tier 1 transcender, the middle-aged man had never seen such an arrogant person. Yi Li couldn't help but sigh. Why didn't this middle-aged man cherish the chance that he had given him? Ali. Suddenly, with a scream, a shocking bloody hole appeared on the middle-aged man's thigh. What? Everyone outside the Heavenly Fragrance Inn was stunned. They hurriedly rubbed their eyes, thinking that they had seen wrongly because they did not see how Yi Li attacked. For a moment, they all knew that not only were they wrong, but they were also wrong to the point of no return. Previously they thought that Yi Li was a young master who did not know the immensity of heaven and earth, but now it seemed that he was clearly a super expert. You. The middle-aged man endured the pain and stared at Yi Li. Chapter 780, Outside the Heavenly Fragrance and Ease reading on Novelcool. Omicron Yi Li smiled faintly at the middle-aged man. I told you to move aside but you didn't. You just had to make me do it. Don't you think you deserve it? When the middle-aged man heard this, he could not help but burn with anger. He shouted, Guards, someone is barging into Heavenly Fragrance Inn. Following the middle-aged man's shout, several more Tier 1 transcenders appeared in front of Yi Li. When the people outside the inn saw this scene, they could not help but widen their eyes and their faces were filled with joy. They thought that they would be able to watch a good show even if they didn't get to eat the delicacies at Heavenly Fragrance Inn. This was a good deal. Brat, do you know that this is the Heavenly Fragrance Inn? A transcender said coldly to Yi Li. Of course we do. With trash like you, you're no match for my master. Qing Zhu looked at the few Tier 1 transcenders in disdain. Yi Li smiled leisurely. She's right. The few of you are not enough. What did you say? These few Tier 1 transcenders were all furious to the extreme. They gritted their teeth and glared at Yi Li. Not enough? What if I join? Suddenly, a sharp voice entered everyone's ears. Everyone looked in the direction of the voice, and a middle-aged man walked over majestically. This middle-aged man looked to be in his 40s. He had a stalwart figure and a pale golden face. It's the Lin family. Someone else exclaimed. The Lin family? The third-ranked expert on the Mystic Land's divine list was the Lin family's master. The Heavenly Fragrance Inn was naturally owned by the Lin family. The middle-aged man's name was Lin Yang, a Tier 1 chosen one. Brother Lin. The Tier 1 transcenders hurriedly called out respectfully to Lin Yang. Lin Yang arrived in front of the Tier 1 transcenders and looked at Yi Li with disdain. You said they're not enough. What if I, Lin Yang, join? When the people outside the Heavenly Fragrance Inn heard the middle-aged man's name, they could not help but look shocked. Is Lin Yang the younger brother of the Lin family's head? That's right. I heard that he broke through to become a Tier 1 chosen one not long ago. What, a Tier 1 chosen one? Everyone looked at each other in dismay. Still not enough, Yili said slowly. What? Not only Lin Yang and the Tier 1 Transcenders, but everyone else was also dumbfounded. One had to know that Lin Yang was a Tier 1 chosen one. This person actually dared to say that it was still not enough? Leng Shui, Chen Tian, Xiaoyu, Qingzhu, and Qing Ruo looked at Yili with admiration. Their hearts were beating wildly. Brat, do you know who I Lin Yang am? Lin Yang roared at Yili. Yili shook his head. I don't know who you are. One only know that you're not enough. Silence, a deadly silence. At this moment time seemed to have stopped. No one dared to break the silence. What if him included? A relatively young voice entered everyone's ears. Everyone hurriedly looked in the direction of the voice and saw a very handsome youth walking over. It's young Master Wang. Someone exclaimed. Young Master Wang was Wang Yun, the young master of the Wang family in the Mystic Land. Yili looked at Wang Yun who was walking over. This Wang Yun was about the same age as him and looked to be in his 20s. However, their strengths were worlds apart. He was just a 5th-tier transcender. Young Master Wang, you're here. Lin Yang called out to Wang Yun. Wang Yun nodded and looked at Yili indifferently. With me, is that enough? Yili smiled. He shook his head slowly again and said, it's still not enough. Everyone outside the heavenly fragrance inn was shocked and dumbfounded. Wang Yun and Lin Yang's families were the strongest families in the Mystic Land, and their family heads were 2nd and 3rd on the Mystic Land's divine list. This person actually said that it wasn't enough. Who was this Yi Li? Chapter 781. Just you wait. Ease reading on Novel Cool. Omicron M. Wang Yun stared at Yi Li. As the young master of the Wang family of the Mystic Land, ordinary people would naturally be extremely respectful when they saw him. They had never seen someone as arrogant as Yi Li. Don't you think you're too arrogant? Wang Yun stared at Yi Li. The people outside Heavenly Fragrance and also felt that Yi Li was too arrogant. They really could not imagine what kind of shocking background Yi Li had to be so arrogant. I've always been this arrogant. Yi Li looked at Wang Yun indifferently and continued, I Yi Li am so arrogant. Are you not convinced? You. Wang Yun and Lin Yang were extremely angry. They glared at Yi Li angrily. Brat, do you know who young Master Wang is? Lin Yang stared at Yi Li and shouted angrily. Yi Li smiled calmly and said calmly, why would one need to know? In front of me the young Master Wang you speak of is like an ant. As soon as these words were spoken, Wang Yun and Lin Yang were furious. Brat, since there's a path to heaven but you don't take it, there is no gate to hell but you force your way in, then one can only fulfill your wish. With that Lin Yang shouted, attack. As soon as he finished speaking, the few Tier 1 Transcenders beside Lin Yang all rushed towards Yi Li. Yi Li shook his head slightly. He really did not understand why there were always so many ants who chose to find trouble with him. Did they get carried away, or was Yi Li unable to lift the knife anymore? However, just as the Tier 1 Transcenders took a step forward, they were sent flying. How is this possible? Wang Yun and Lin Yang were shocked. They didn't see how Yi Li attacked at all, but these Tier 1 Transcenders were sent flying. In their eyes, this was simply too unbelievable. You, how did you do it? Lin Yang stared at Yi Li and asked. Yi Li smiled and said calmly, do you think one will tell you? When Lin Yang heard this, he instantly flew into a rage. Arrogant brat. Immediately, Lin Yang raised his fist and attacked Yi Li at an extremely fast speed. Unfortunately, he was facing Yi Li, the Demon King Yi Li. Lin Yang was only a Tier 1 chosen one. When facing Yi Li, he was really not enough. Ah. With a wind-breaking sound, a shocking bloody hole appeared on Lin Yang's right leg. It was really terrifying. Well, Wang Yun and the others were stunned. They looked at the scene in front of them with their mouths agape, unable to believe that it was real. I told you you're just ants. Why don't you believe me? Yi Li shook his head and sighed. Silence. Dead silence again. All right. I Wang Yun have lost today but just you wait. After Wang Yun finished speaking, he hurriedly left. Even Lin Yang was not Yi Li's match, so he naturally knew that he was even more so. Just you wait. Lin Yang endured the pain and left. Yi Li could imagine that Wang Yun and Lin Yang had both gone to call for help. However, he was here to eat and did not have the time to think about such boring things. Let's go in. Yi Li said to the 5 women. The 5 women nodded and walked into Heavenly Fragrance Inn. No one dared to stop them. Chapter 782. 5th Elder of the Lin Family. Ease reading on Novel Cool. Omicron Yi Li and the 5 girls arrived at the 7th floor of the Heavenly Fragrance Inn. There was no need to say anything about the decoration and the grandeur. As expected of the best inn in the mystic land. The waiter hurried over and looked at Yi Li in shock. "Sir, what would you like?" "Whatever's good," Yi Li said frankly. The waiter quickly walked away. "Senior, you're really amazing," Xiao Yu looked at Yi Li and said. Not long after, the delicacies were served. The 5 women began to eat, their faces filled with satisfaction. "Oh my God, this is too delicious," the 5 women said in unison. Yi Li ate very quickly, like the autumn wind sweeping away fallen leaves. After eating and drinking their fill, Yi Li saw a group of people. "Brat!" A loud shout sounded from the 7th floor of the Heavenly Fragrance Inn. Lin Yang brought an old man over. This old man looked sage-like and was about 70 years old. "I heard that someone barged into our Heavenly Fragrance Inn. He must have eaten a bear's heart and a leopard's gall." This sage-like old man shouted coldly at Yi Li. The expression on his old face was extremely cold. Yi Li smiled to himself. There would always be people looking for trouble with him. How boring. The key was that the person looking for trouble with him was an ant. This was ridiculous. The old man's name was Lin He. He was an elder of the Lin family, a Tier 3 chosen one. Lin He came in front of Yi Li and stared at him. "Are you the ones who barged into my Heavenly Fragrance Inn?" Yi Li nodded. "That's right, it's us." Lin Yang looked at the indifferent expression on Yi Li's face and could not help but be extremely angry. "At this point, how can you still be so calm? This is the 5th elder of my Lin family." Lin Yang stared at Yi Li and said coldly. After saying that, Lin Yang's face revealed a smug expression. It was as if Yi Li would pee his pants in fear when he heard that the 5th elder of the Lin family was here. "An ant?" Yi Li said slowly. "What?" Lin Yang and the dozen or so transcender he brought were all shocked. They did not expect Yi Li to dare to say such a thing. You actually dare to say such words to the 5th elder of my Lin family?" Lin Yang shouted coldly. Yi Li smiled leisurely. "What 5th elder? He's just a pitifully weak ant." 5th elder Lin He laughed instead of getting angry. He snorted several times. "Brat, you're bold." In the eyes of the 5th elder Lin He had never seen anyone as bold as Yi Li. "I advise you to leave quickly. Otherwise, when my master gets angry, your outcome will be very tragic." Qing Ruo smiled sweetly at the Lin family. Everyone from the Lin family was stunned. Was this human language? My disciple is right. "I'll give you 1 second to leave." Yi Li's handsome face revealed a playful smile. Lin Yang was furious. Anger surged out of his head as he glared at Yi Li. "I think you're looking for death." With that, Lin Yang shouted at the dozen or so transcenders behind him, "Attack!" With Lin Yang's order, more than a dozen transcenders began to attack Yi Li. Air. However, just as they took a step forward, they were sent flying. When they landed on the ground, they did not know how they were sent flying. What? Lin Yang and 5th elder Lin He's expressions changed because they didn't see how Yi Li attacked. Yi Li looked at the transcenders on the ground and said slowly, "I told you to leave, but you didn't. Are you deaf?" Chapter 783. Do you really want to know my name? He's reading on Novel Cool. Omicron Lin Yang and the 5th elder Lin He were shocked. They stared at Yi Li. "Do you know what kind of existence our Lin family is?" Lin He said coldly. Yi Li smiled and looked at 5th elder Lin He indifferently. "Why would one need to know what kind of existence your Lin family is? I just need to know that you are all ants." As soon as these words were spoken, 5th elder Lin He was furious. "Brat, I'll take your life." As soon as he finished speaking, the 5th elder raised his palm and hit Yi Li fiercely. A shocking spirit chi flew towards Yi Li at an extremely fast speed. Yi Li shook his head slightly. He really didn't know how Lin He dared to attack him. He had no intention of dodging or resisting. Instead, he took out his wine glass and slowly moved it to his mouth. The 5 women were shocked. They really didn't understand why Yi Li didn't dodge. Could it be that he didn't see it? Boom. Terrifying spiritual energy hit Yi Li's body. How is it possible? However, 5th elder Lin He shouted loudly. His pupils could not help but constrict rapidly, as if he had seen something that would never happen. This was because when the terrifying spiritual energy hit Yi Li's body, he didn't receive any damage. The 5 women and Lin Yang were all stunned as they looked at Yi Li dumbfoundedly. "An ant is only worthy of tickling me." Yi Li looked at 5th elder Lin He indifferently and said. At this moment, how could Lin He still be able to say a complete sentence? He looked at Yi Li in horror. "You, who exactly are you?" the 5th elder asked in shock. Yi Li smiled and said calmly, "Do you really want to know my name? Alright, I'll tell you then." After that, Yi Li looked at Fifth Elder Lin He playfully. "My name is Yi Li." "Yi Li?" Fifth Elder Lin He and Lin Yang were both stunned. They thought carefully, and then their eyes widened for the largest time in history. They thought of a shocking possibility. "Yi Li, the Demon King Yi Li. You are Demon King Yi Li?" Lin He looked at Yi Li in horror. "Looks like you're not stupid," Yi Li said slowly. Fifth Elder Lin He and Lin Yang both took a few steps back and were already shocked. But, with a thud, Fifth Elder Lin He knelt in front of Yi Li and kept kowtowing to him. "Lord Demon King, I was blind. Am not human, am an idiot." When Lin Yang saw this, he hurriedly knelt on the ground and kowtowed to Yi Li. "I'm sorry, Lord Demon King. Please let us go." There was no need to talk about Yi Li's reputation in the Mystic Land. Everyone knew about him. Fifth Elder Lin He and Lin Yang were quite smart. If they continued to offend Yi Li, they knew that not only them, but even the Lin family would be in trouble. "Do you think I, Yi Li, will lower myself to your level?" Yi Li looked at Lin He and Lin Yang indifferently. When Lin He and Lin Yang heard this, they instantly felt as if they had been pardoned. "Thank you, Lord Demon King. Thank you, Lord Demon King." The two of them hurriedly kowtowed to Yi Li again. "Let's go." Yi Li looked at the 5 women. The 5 women nodded and Yi Li and the 5 women left the 7th floor of the Heavenly Fragrance Inn. Lin He and Lin Yang looked at each other. Their bodies were already drenched in cold sweat and they were terrified. Chapter 784. Mystic City Ease reading on Novel Cool. Omicron M. Lin He and Lin Yang looked at each other. "I'll report this to the family head," Lin He said. Lin Yang nodded. "Fifth Elder, let's go back quickly." Then Lin Yang and Lin He rushed towards the Lin family at the fastest speed in history, wishing they had 100 legs. Yi Li and the 5 women returned to the Demon King Palace. He thought about how the Apocalypse Legion hadn't come back yet. Cultivation didn't seem to be interesting. As long as he wanted to level up, he could always level up inadvertently. This mystic land was so big and there were many places he had never been to. For example, the Mystic City in the center of the Mystic Land, the 5 great families, and the Divine List. Although Yi Li knew about this, he had never been there before. The next day, Yi Li headed towards Mystic City. Mystic City. Mystic City was the largest city in the Mystic Land. There were countless genetic warriors here. Of course, there were also many ordinary people. When Yi Li was about to reach Mystic City, he saw a group of genetic warriors fighting a dark race member. This was a venerable level dark race member, but these genetic warriors were definitely very strong. Not long after, this venerable level dark race member died. Family head, the dark race members of the Black Demon Mountain always come to Mystic City to cause trouble. A genetic warrior said to an old man. This old man was around 70 years old. He was actually a 6th-tier chosen one. The 5 great families of the Mystic Land guard the 5 directions of the north, south, east, west and middle respectively. Were the ones who contributed. His Wang family doesn't have to contribute at all, the old man said coldly. The Wang family was the strongest family in Mystic City. They were in charge of the center. If the dark race members wanted to invade Mystic City, it would be a fantasy. However, the Wang family was the strongest family in Mystic City. Haha, everyone from the Lin family stay here today. Suddenly, more than 10 venerable level dark race members appeared in front of these genetic warriors. All of them were tier 4 venerable level dark race members. The Lin family? Yi Li thought that it should be Lin He and Lin Yang's family. The genetic warriors of the Lin family looked at the dozen or so venerable level dark race members in front of them and could not help but be shocked. I didn't expect your Black Demon Mountain to pay such a huge price. Even the 12 generals have been mobilized. The old man said coldly. The old man was Lin Zhanshan, the clan leader of the Lin clan. He was ranked 3rd on the Divine List. These dark race members all laughed coldly. Lin Zhantian, I'm going to turn you into ashes today. With just you guys? Lin Zhanshan laughed disdainfully. Immediately, the genetic warriors of the Lin family and the 12 generals of the Black Demon Mountain began to engage in a chaotic battle. Yi Li looked at the battle in front of him playfully. To be honest, he was not interested in the battle of these ants. Ding. Host, as long as you help the genetic warriors of the Lin family, you can obtain some news. Suddenly, the system's voice appeared in Yi Li's mind. Yi Li was stunned. Was there such a thing? That couldn't be. However, Yi Li naturally knew that the system wouldn't lie to him. Since it wanted him to save them, so be it. Stop it. Just as the genetic warriors of the Lin family and the 12 generals of the Black Demon Mountain were engaged in a heated battle, A magnetic voice entered their ears. The foundation martial artists of the Lin family and the 12 generals of the Black Demon Mountain hurriedly stopped and looked in the direction of the voice. What? The genetic warriors of the Lin family and the 12 generals of the Black Fiend Mountain were all stunned. Who are you? A Tier 4 Venerable Level Dark Race member stared at Yi Li and spoke coldly. Chapter 785. The 12 Generals of Black Demon Mountain died. Ease reading on Novel Cool. Omicron M. There was no change in Yi Li's handsome face. I'm just a passerby, Yi Li said slowly. The genetic warriors of the Lin family and the 12 generals of the Black Demon Mountain were all stunned. They naturally did not believe Yi Li's words. Human, you're very bold. Before a Tier 4 Venerable Level Dark Race member could finish speaking, he sensed something. You're not human? This Tier 4 Venerable Level Dark Race member was extremely shocked. As soon as these words were spoken, the 12 generals of Black Demon Mountain and the genetic warriors of the Lin family were all stunned. This is clearly a human. How can he not be a human? A 7th tier transcender said in shock. You don't have the aura of a human on you, a Tier 4 Venerable Level Dark Race member said coldly. Yi Li smiled and said calmly, I didn't expect you guys to be so discerning. I'm indeed not a human. The genetic warriors of the Lin family and the 12 generals of the Black Fiend Mountain were all stunned as they looked at Yi Li in shock. Wasn't human? However, he looked exactly the same as a human. In the entire Mystic Land, other than... Suddenly, the genetic warriors of the Lin family and the 12 generals of the Black Fiend Mountain thought of a possibility. Demon King Yi Li. Everyone in the Mystic Land knew that Demon King Yi Li was not a human but a demon. Although they had never seen Demon King Yi Li before and did not know if he was a human or a demon, the person in front of them looked like a human but was not. They could not think of anyone else other than Demon King Yi Li. Are you Demon King Yi Li? The head of the Lin family, Lin Zhanshan, said to Yi Li in shock. Yi Li smiled faintly and slowly said to Lin Zhanshan, That's right, I am indeed the Demon King Yi Li. Upon hearing this, the genetic warriors of the Lin family and the 12 generals of the Black Demon Mountain could not help but gasp. Demon King Yi Li? That was a legendary existence in the Mystic Land. Get lost. Yi Li looked at the 12 generals of the Black Demon Mountain. When the 12 generals of Black Demon Mountain heard this, they were all infuriated. So what if you're Demon King Yi Li? Everyone says that you're scary but my Black Demon Mountain doesn't believe it. I want to see how scary Demon King Yi Li is. A Tier 4 Venerable Level Dark Race member spoke coldly to Yi Li. Yi Li was slightly stunned when he heard that. He didn't expect that they didn't cherish the chance that he gave them to live. I've already given you a chance to live, but why didn't you choose to cherish it? Yi Li looked at the 12 generals of the Black Demon Mountain and could not help but sigh. When Black Demon Mountain saw the expression on Yi Li's face, he could not help but be furious. His expression seemed to be telling them that they were already dead. Since that's the case, all of you can die, Yi Li suddenly said. As soon as he finished speaking, a dragon's cry suddenly sounded. A 5-clawed blood dragon was entrenched above Yi Li's head, and a sharp sword had appeared in Yi Li's hand. Swish! A supreme sword light shot out from the immemorial dragon abyss sword. Its speed was as fast as lightning, so fast that it was simply indescribable. Seeing such an attack, the 12 warriors of the Black Demon Mountain began to feel extremely regretful. They only hated themselves for being too arrogant and conceited. Why didn't they listen to Demon King Yi Li just now? But now, I'm finished. The 12 generals of Black Demon Mountain shouted in unison. Ah! With dozens of screams, the 12 generals of Black Demon Mountain all died. Chapter 786. News of the 9 Lipadis reading on Novel Cool. Omicron M. Silence, a deadly silence. The genetic warriors of the Lin family froze like clay sculptures. Are you guys very shocked? Yi Li looked at the Lin family genetic warriors playfully. When the Lin family heard this, they came back to their senses and looked at Yi Li in horror. Yes, they were simply shocked to the extreme. Just the name of the Demon King Yi Li was enough to scare them out of their wits, not to mention Yi Li's sword just now. That sword was the most terrifying sword move they had seen since they were born. Don't ever be shocked because everything I, Yi Li, do is enough to shock all of you for 3 days and 3 nights, Yi Li said slowly. When the Lin family members heard this, they could not help but be even more shocked. Demon King, thank you for your help. The head of the Lin family, Lin Zhanshan, was the first to come back to his senses and looked at Yi Li gratefully. Yi Li waved his hand and looked at Lin Zhanshan. You should know that there will never be a free lunch in this world. Tell me some news. Some news? Everyone in the Lin family was stunned again. They looked at each other, not understanding what Yili meant. Yili smiled. "I'm not interested in waiting for you to think." Everyone from the Lin family was startled. It was as if a bolt of lightning had struck their heads. They had just witnessed how terrifying Yili was. When they heard this, they could not help but think that Yili was going to attack them. In that case, they would have no chance of survival. "Demon King, we are from the Lin family of Mystic City," the head of the Lin family, Lin Zhanshan, hurriedly said to Yili. Yili shook his head and looked at Lin Zhanshan. "Do you think this is considered news?" Lin Zhanshan was shocked. How would he know what a message was? For a moment, Lin Zhanshan began to feel distressed. He thought that even if they were to face the 12 generals of the Black Demon Mountain, they were completely confident of defeating them. However, Demon King Yili had appeared out of nowhere. He thought that if they offended Demon King Yili, their Lin family would undoubtedly be wiped out of Mystic City. "Lord Demon King, those dark race members just now were all generals of the Black Demon Mountain," Lin Zhanshan said to Yili. When Yili heard this, he started to mumble in his heart. He thought that there wasn't any useful information. "Think about it again," Yili said slowly. Lin Zhanshan was about to cry. He realized that even if he used all his strength, he couldn't figure out what news Yili needed. The genetic warriors of the Lin family were the same. Suddenly, Lin Zhanshan's eyes lit up as if he had thought of something. "Demon King, there's a supreme spirit treasure in the Black Demon Mountain, but it seems to be incomplete. I heard that it's one of the 10 great divine weapons, the 9-li pot." When Yili heard this, his face showed a playful smile. One would search high and low only to find it when one least expected to. This system was indeed the system. It was simply strategizing. The Black Demon Mountain had the 9-li pot? Although it was incomplete, it was better than nothing. The head of the Lin family, Lin Zhanshan, looked at Yili in shock. He thought that if the information was still useless this time, he would have no other choice. "You can leave now." Yili looked at Lin Zhanshan. Lin Zhanshan was overjoyed. "Thank you, Senior Demon King." Just as the Lin family turned around and left, Yili suddenly stopped them. The Lin family was shocked and turned around shakily. "Demon King, is there anything else?" Lin Zhanshan looked at Yili in shock and asked. "Where is the Black Demon Mountain?" Yili asked slowly. Chapter 787, The Mountain Master of Black Demon Mountain. He's reading on Novel Cool. Omicron. The genetic warriors of the Lin family were all stunned when they heard this. They originally thought that Yili was not going to let them leave. They did not expect Yili to say such words. "Demon King, Black Demon Mountain is..." The head of the Lin family, Lin Zhanshan, told Yili the direction of the Black Demon Mountain. "All right, you can leave now," Yili said to the Lin family. When the Lin family heard this, they felt as if they had been pardoned and hurriedly left. Yili nodded slightly and looked at the sun in the sky. "Incomplete 9-li pot?" With that, Yili activated his swift steps and disappeared from the scene. Black Demon Mountain. The Black Demon Mountain was also an incomparably powerful dark race tribe in the Mystic Land. When Yili arrived at the foot of the Black Demon Mountain, he leaped up the mountain. As long as he did not want to be discovered by others, naturally no one would be able to discover him. At this moment he had arrived at the top of the Black Demon Mountain's main hall. Yili looked at the hall indifferently. More than 10 venerable level dark race members were discussing something. "Mountain Master, why don't we attack Mystic City directly and let them see how powerful our Black Demon Mountain is?" A Tier 1 venerable level dark race member said to the dark race member on the throne. Yili looked at everything in the hall and wondered if he should give these dark race members a sneak attack. "Why aren't the 12 generals back yet?" Black Demon Mountain's Mountain Master asked in confusion. Hearing this, the dark race members in the hall were also stunned. "Mountain Master, do you think something happened to them?" a venerable level dark race member asked. "How is this possible? The 12 generals are all Tier 4 venerable level. How can anything happen to them?" The dark race members in the hall all nodded. They all felt that nothing would happen to the 12 generals. At this moment, a voice entered the ears of the dark race members. "Do you really believe that nothing happened to them?" It was a slightly lazy voice. "Who is it?" The dark race members in the main hall of the Black Demon Mountain were all stunned. They had never expected that a voice would suddenly appear. A man in his 20s appeared in front of them. The man was as handsome as jade, like a war god from the 9 heavens. All the dark race members in the hall were shocked. They didn't even realize when Yili had arrived. "Human." The Black Demon Mountain Master stared at Yili. "Something's wrong." After saying that, the Black Demon Mountain Master immediately sensed something. The Black Demon Mountain Master was a 6th-tier venerable level member of the Red Leopard tribe. A few seconds later, the Black Demon Mountain Master stared at Yi Li and said coldly, "You're not human." Yi Li smiled and said slowly, "That's right, I'm not a human. I'm a demon." Demon? The Dark Race members in the main hall of Black Demon Mountain were all stunned. Impossible. How can there be demons in the Mystic Land? The Black Demon Mountain Master sneered. "Believe it or not," Yi Li said lightly. The Black Demon Mountain Master glared at Yi Li. "Even if you're a demon, I don't think there's any deep hatred between you and my Black Demon Mountain, right?" The Mountain Master of Black Demon Mountain really couldn't understand why Yi Li came to his Black Demon Mountain. "Mountain Master, there is a demon in the Mystic Land." Suddenly, a Dark Race member said to the Black Demon Mountain Master. Black Demon Mountain Master was taken aback. There was a demon here? Could it Belt wasn't just the Mountain Master of the Black Demon Mountain? All the Dark Race members in the hall were stunned because they had all thought of a shocking possibility. This shocking possibility was Demon King Yi Li. Chapter 788. Incomplete 9 Lipotes reading on Novel Cool. Omicronim. All the Dark Race members in the main hall of the Black Demon Mountain looked at Yi Li in shock. You are Demon King Yi Li?" "Actually, I am Demon King Yi Li." Although the Dark Races had guessed that Yi Li was the Demon King Yi Li, they were still extremely shocked when they heard Yi Li say it himself. "Demon King Yi Li, our Black Demon Mountain has no deep hatred for you." When the Black Demon Mountain Master heard that it was Demon King Yi Li, he had no choice but to cower. He had heard too much about Demon King Yi Li's deeds. Just destroying the Four Weapons Hall, a supreme faction in the Mystic Land, was enough to shock everyone. "I told you, I'm not here to destroy your Black Demon Mountain," Yi Li said calmly. All the Dark Race members in the hall were stunned. The Black Demon Mountain Master looked at Yi Li and asked, "Then what are you doing here?" Yi Li smiled leisurely. "I heard that your Black Demon Mountain has the incomplete 9 Li Pot, one of the 10 great divine weapons. So I'm here to take it." "What?" The expressions of all the Dark Race members of the Black Demon Mountain changed. Black Demon Mountain did have the 9 Li Pot, but it was incomplete. They had once searched the entire Mystic Land and did not find any traces of other broken pots. Many factions also knew this news, so they did not come to attack the Black Demon Mountain. "Demon King Yi Li, our Black Demon Mountain does indeed have the incomplete 9 Li Pot. However, why do you need it?" Black Demon Mountain's Mountain Master asked in puzzlement. "It's useful to me," Yi Li said slowly. All the Dark Race members in the hall looked at Yi Li in horror. They knew very well how terrifying Demon King Yi Li was. "What if I don't give it to you?" The Black Demon Mountain Master stared at Yi Li. "You can try," Yi Li said slowly without any hesitation. Upon hearing this, the Black Demon Mountain Master could not help but tremble. He gritted his teeth and stared at Yi Li. He realized that Yi Li was very young. He really did not know how such a young demon could have such terrifying strength. At the same time, he realized that Yi Li's eyes were unforgettable. His eyes were as serene as the night and as profound as the ocean. "You are Demon King Yi Li. I respect you. Since you want the incomplete 9 Li Pot, I'll give it to you." With that said, Black Demon Mountain Master said, "Men, retrieve the incomplete 9 Li Pot." Before long, the incomplete 9 Li Pot was brought over. Yi Li looked at the copper pot in front of him. There were strange runes on it. The 9 Li Pot looked complete, but its artifact spirit was incomplete. "Demon King Yi Li, this is the incomplete 9 Li Pot," Black Demon Mountain Master said to Yi Li. Yi Li took the pot and placed it into the system space. Then he scanned the Dark Race members of the Black Demon Mountain and slowly said, "In this world, good people don't die and neither do bad people. There's only one kind of person who dies, and that's stupid people. Obviously none of you are stupid people." With that, Yi Li activated swift steps and disappeared from the hall of Black Demon Mountain. "Mountain Master, Demon King Yi Li is too arrogant," a Lord-level Dark Race member said to the Black Demon Mountain Master. The Dark Race members in the hall were also furious. The Mountain Master of the Black Demon Mountain sighed. "What can we do? Demon King Yi Li is not someone we can provoke." Yi Li arrived at Mystic City. He thought that the 9 Li Pot was incomplete. He did not know when he would be able to find the complete one. Forget it, he should admire this Mystic City first. Mystic City was really huge. At least, Yi Li had never seen such a big city. Zombie Paradise Grand Celebration. Tickets 90% off. Suddenly the sound of advertisements entered Yi Li's ears. Chapter 789, Mystic City's Zombie Paradise. Yi's reading on Novel Cool. Omicron M Zombie Paradise? There was a playful look on Yi Li's face. It had been a long time since he had heard the name Zombie Paradise. He had heard it in the Annan Bay City and the Huangjiang Bay City. Now that the Apocalypse Legion was still gathering zombies, he wanted to synthesize all the zombies in Zombie Paradise. Would be fun. Yi Li watched as some genetic warriors bought tickets and walked towards a certain place. He followed them. Not long after, Yi Li saw the Zombie Paradise. This Zombie Paradise was many times bigger than the Zombie Paradise in Annan Bay City and Huangjiang Bay City. After Yi Li bought the tickets, he walked into Zombie Paradise. Wait a minute. Suddenly, a voice entered Yi Li's ears. Yi Li looked in the direction of the voice and saw a young girl. What is it? Yi Li asked coldly. I am the guardian of your team, the girl said to Yi Li. If genetic warriors wanted to enter Zombie Paradise, they had to be protected. Otherwise their lives would not be guaranteed. Immediately, more than 10 genetic warriors appeared in front of Yi Li. They were all from Yi Li's team. Yi Li looked at the girl in front of him. This girl was only 17 or 18 years old, but she was a 10th tier evolved being. She only needed one more step to become a transcender. Let's enter Zombie Paradise now, the girl said. Then the group entered Zombie Paradise. Zombie Paradise was divided into several large areas, which were also divided into many small areas according to zombie levels. The Zombie Paradise in Mystic City even had mutant zombies. When you kill the zombies later, don't stay too far away from me, the girl said to the group of people. The girl's name was Lin Miao and she was from the Lin family, a super family in Mystic City. Yi Li and the others were entering the Advanced Zombies area. Advanced Zombies were level 6 to 10 zombies. Roar, roar. In an instant, several zombies rushed toward them. The flowers in the greenhouse were all very excited, wondering how they were going to kill the disgusting zombies. Unfortunately, they didn't have such a chance. When the zombies were still some distance away from them, they suddenly heard a wind-breaking sound. All 6 zombies fell to the ground, but they weren't dead. What happened? The group of genetic warriors was stunned. Even their guardian Lin Miao was stunned. She didn't know what was going on, but she heard a wind-breaking sound, and then those zombies fell to the ground. Yi Li opened the synthesis grid in his mind and synthesized all 6 zombies. These 6 zombies were all level 6 zombies. Yi Li synthesized them into 3 level 7 zombies and asked them to lure the other zombies. Seeing that the number of zombies had suddenly decreased and their levels had increased, Lin Miao and the others were stunned again. They felt that they had seen wrongly. How is this possible? What shocked them even more was that the 3 level 7 zombies in front of them didn't choose to continue attacking them, but ran to different places. This was the first time they had heard that zombies didn't attack humans. It would be fine if they were intelligent mutant zombies or higher-leveled zombies, but they were advanced zombies. Roar, roar. In just 10 seconds, the 3 level 7 zombies brought dozens of zombies over. Chapter 790, Attract Zombies madly. Yi's reading on Novel Cool. Omicron M. Lin Miao and the others were all very shocked. They really could not understand what was going on. What exactly is going on? A Tier 1 evolved being asked in astonishment. Yi Li looked at the dozens of zombies in front of him and was bored. It was just dozens of zombies. Swish, swish, swish. The wind-breaking sound appeared again. The dozens of zombies fell to the ground again. The group was stunned again. Yi Li opened the synthesis grid in his mind and synthesized dozens of zombies again. Then he asked them to attract other zombies. Lin Miao and the others saw the most impossible thing in history. Their eyes were wide open, and their faces were as shocked as they could be. Don't be surprised. I did it all. Yi Li looked at Lin Miao and the rest and said calmly. As soon as he said this, everyone looked at Yi Li. You did it? Lin Miao looked at Yi Li in shock. Yi Li nodded and did not say anything. As a Tier 1 transcender, Lin Miao's mental fortitude was naturally much stronger than these evolved beings. At this moment, the evolved beings were already frozen like clay sculptures. How did you reduce the number of zombies and raise their levels? Lin Miao's fair face was filled with confusion. It's a secret, Yi Li said slowly. Secret? Lin Miao looked at Yi Li. She was one of the geniuses in Mystic City, but she suddenly had a feeling that compared to Yi Li, it was like the difference between heaven and earth, although this was just her feeling. Roar, roar. Suddenly, thousands of zombies arrived. Oh my god. So many zombies. The evolved beings came back to their senses. They took a few steps back and exclaimed in shock. Lin Miao glanced at the zombie, then turned to look at Yi Li. What she didn't expect was that Yi Li's face didn't change at all, as if he didn't see anything at all. "Let's get out of here," Lin Miao hurriedly shouted. The evolved beings hurriedly nodded and ran out of the advanced zombies area. After Lin Miao took a few steps, she realized that someone was missing. When she turned around, she saw that Yi Li was still standing there motionlessly. "Come on, run," Lin Miao shouted at Yi Li. Yi Li revealed his side profile and looked at Lin Miao indifferently. "You guys can leave." Lin Miao was shocked. She obviously didn't expect Yi Li to say such a thing. "You guys leave first," Lin Miao said to the evolved beings, and they immediately ran out. "What's wrong with you? Do you want to face so many zombies?" Lin Miao ran to Yi Li's side and said urgently. "Are you very afraid?" Yi Li looked at Lin Miao leisurely. Lin Miao was shocked. She really didn't know what Yi Li meant. Shouldn't she be afraid of so many zombies? "Don't be afraid. These zombies can't hurt you," Yi Li said slowly. Lin Miao suddenly felt that Yi Li was a lunatic, an out-and-out lunatic. Roar, roar. At this moment, the zombie had already arrived in front of Yi Li. Swish. Before Lin Miao could react, she looked at Yi Li and found that there was only an afterimage left on the spot. Then she looked at the zombie crowd and saw a figure moving quickly among the zombies. Countless zombies began to fall to the ground. Chapter 791. I want all the zombies in Zombie Paradise. Ease reading on Novel Cool. Omicron. Well, Lin Miao's eyes widened for the biggest time in history. She could not believe the scene in front of her. "How did you do that?" Lin Miao didn't know. She really didn't know. She only knew that this must be the most shocked she had ever been. In an instant, thousands of zombies fell to the ground. Was this the charm of Demon King Yi Li? Yi Li opened the synthesis grid in his mind and conducted batch synthesis on these zombies. The expression on Lin Miao's face seemed to have frozen, and she was unable to regain her senses for a long time. When Yi Li was synthesizing zombies, he would always see such an expression. He was already used to it. How did you do it?" Lin Miao looked at Yi Li in shock. She was a 10th tier evolved being and did not understand how Yi Li did it. "Do you think I will tell you?" Yi Li looked at Lin Miao playfully. Lin Miao was shocked. All the zombies in the entire area were gone. This was simply unbelievable. "Who the hell are you?" Suddenly, Lin Miao thought that Yi Li must not be an ordinary genetic warrior. He could actually reduce the number of zombies and increase the level of the zombies. "Take me to the next zombie area." Yi Li thought that since Lin Miao didn't want to leave, he would let her lead the way. "You're not a genetic warrior from Mystic City." Lin Miao glared at Yi Li. Yi Li smiled and thought that Lin Miao was not too stupid. She even knew about this. It was really worth celebrating. "They'll say it again. Bring me to the next area. Don't make me say it a third time." Yi Li looked at Lin Miao indifferently. Lin Miao's expression changed when she heard this. She knew very well that she was definitely not Yi Li's match, so she could only find help when she went out. In the blink of an eye, Lin Miao jumped and disappeared. Yi Li secretly smiled. He thought that this girl's desire to live was very strong. Alright, he would let her escape. Then he prepared to go to another area. When he came out, Yi Li was surrounded by a group of genetic warriors. "It's him." Lin Miao pointed at Yi Li and said. "Take him down," a Tier 1 Transcender shouted. Immediately, the genetic warriors surrounding Yi Li prepared to attack him. Ah! The dozen or so genetic warriors suddenly screamed and fell to the ground. A shocking bloody hole appeared on their thighs. This? When Lin Miao saw this, she couldn't help but be shocked. Yi Li looked at Lin Miao indifferently and said slowly, "Tell the person in charge of Zombie Paradise that I want the zombies in Zombie Paradise." There were still countless genetic warriors from Mystic City outside. When they saw the scene just now, they froze as if they had been petrified. Now that they heard Yi Li's words, they were even more shocked, and their souls almost left their bodies. He wanted all the zombies in Zombie Paradise? Not to mention the purpose he wanted the zombies for. How dare he uttered such words, although they acknowledged that the person before them was very strong. But the Zombie Paradise in Mystic City was opened by the Lin family. The Lin family was a super family in Mystic City. What are you trying to do?" Lin Miao's voice trembled. She thought about the scene just now and couldn't help but think of a shocking possibility. Could it be that this person wanted to take all the zombies in Zombie Paradise? Do you really think you have the right to refuse? Yi Li looked at Yi Li playfully. Lin Miao gritted her teeth and glared at Yi Li. "All right. Just you wait. Chapter 792. He is Demon King Yi Li's reading on Novel Cool. Omicron M. With that, Lin Miao left. Who is this? Isn't this publicly challenging the Lin family? That's right. I'm afraid this person won't even know how he dies. Didn't you see this person's strength just now? I didn't even see how he attacked. I think this person must be a powerful genetic warrior. So what? Does he know that he's going to face the Lin family? The genetic warriors outside the zombie paradise all looked at Yi Li with pity. Yi Li thought that he would wait for a while. Not long after, a group of genetic warriors arrived aggressively like ferocious tigers descending the mountain. Yi Li had seen the two genetic warriors in the lead, Lin Yang and the fifth elder, Lin He. Oh, who dares to challenge our Lin family? Lin Yang shouted angrily at the crowd. Everyone hurriedly made way, afraid of offending the Lin family's genetic warriors. Second uncle, it's him. Lin Miao pointed at Yi Li and said. Lin Yang and the head of the Lin family, Lin Zhanshan, were brothers, but there was a 30-year age difference between them. I want to see who has the guts to openly challenge my Lin family in Mystic City. With that, Lin Yang looked in the direction Lin Miao was pointing. And then, he was scared out of his wits. Lin Yang and fifth elder Lin He's pupils constricted as if they had seen the most terrifying thing in the world. Second uncle, fifth uncle, what's wrong? Lin Miao was shocked. She really could not understand why they looked so afraid. Master Demon King. Lin Yang called Yi Li. What? All the genetic warriors present were shocked to the extreme. Master Demon King? In the entire Mystic Land, other than Demon King Yi Li, who else was Master Demon King? Who else could it be other than Demon King Yi Li? Demon King Yi Li, this person is Demon King Yi Li? Did Master Demon King hear what I said just now? I don't think so. If he had heard it, we would have been finished. The genetic warriors were as afraid as they could be. Master Demon King, why are you in Mystic City? The fifth elder of the Lin family said respectfully to Yi Li. I'm just here to play. I want all the zombies in your zombie paradise. You have no objections, right? Yi Li looked at Lin He. How could Lin He dare to have any objections? He shook his head like a rattled drum. No objections, no objections. Lin He said quickly. As for Lin Miao, her eyes were as wide as they had ever been. Her mouth was so wide open that it could fit an extra-large bowl. She wouldn't have thought of it even if she used all her strength. This person was actually Demon King Yi Li. Then call out everyone in zombie paradise, Yi Li said calmly to Lin He. How could Lin He dare to refuse? He hurriedly got someone to call out the people from the various regions. Hey, what are you doing? I bought a ticket. Don't think that the Lin family is so great. What? You said the Lin family is just so great? Alright, you guys are great. Demon King Yi Li? It's alright then. When the people from the various regions of zombie paradise heard that Demon King Yi Li had arrived, they were all so frightened that they took a few steps back. Immediately, genetic warriors from various regions of zombie paradise came out one after another. They all knew that Demon King Yi Li had arrived, but they didn't know who Demon King Yi Li was. Among the crowd, there was a person who stood out like a crane in a flock of chickens. He was tall and upright, but his slightly thin back was like a god, making people unable to look up to him. The genetic warriors who came out of zombie paradise were certain that this person was none other than the Demon King. Yi Li. Chapter 793. Entering Zombie Paradise Again. Ease reading on Novel Cool. Omicron. Master Demon King, the genetic warriors in Zombie Paradise have all retreated. The fifth elder of the Lin family, Lin He, looked at Yi Li respectfully. Yi Li nodded and said leisurely, I want all the zombies in Zombie Paradise. You have no objections, right? Of course not, Lin He said quickly. Then Yi Li slowly walked into Zombie Paradise. All the genetic warriors were left frozen on the spot in shock. Fifth uncle, should we tell Grandpa? Lin Miao looked at Lin He in shock. Fifth elder Lin He was stunned. The last time he and Lin Yang returned from the Heavenly Fragrance Inn, they were about to tell the family head, but after thinking about it, they were afraid of being scolded, so they didn't say anything. I think it's better to tell Big Brother, Lin Yang said. As soon as they finished speaking, the few of them headed towards the Lin family. Yi Li arrived at an advanced zombies area in Zombie Paradise. He synthesized the zombies and got them to lure other zombies over. Then he began to synthesize crazily. The Lin family. After those people arrived at the Lin family's hall, Lin Yang was the first to speak. Big Brother, bad news? The head of the Lin family, Lin Zhanshan, was drinking tea. When he heard Lin Yang's panicked words, his teacup almost slipped from his hand. What's the matter? Why are you so shocked? Lin Zanshan's face darkened. Brother, Demon King Yi Li is in Mystic City, Lin Yang said with a worried look. What? The head of the Lin family, Lin Zhanshan, was shocked and looked at Lin Yang in shock. Are you serious? It's true, big brother. Lin Yang almost cried. He had seen how terrifying Demon King Yi Li was. Although Yi Li only wanted the zombies in zombie paradise, who knew if he would attack his Lin family? Lin Zanshan's old face looked also a little shocked. He thought about how Demon King Yi Li had saved them that day and even went to the Black Demon Mountain. How could he have returned so quickly? Lin Yang, tell me what happened. Lin Zhanshan looked at Lin Yang and said, Big brother, this is how it all happened. Lin Yang hurriedly told Lin Zhanshan everything that had happened. Lin Zhanshan heaved a sigh of relief when he heard this. The weight in his heart was finally lifted. Don't worry. Demon King Yi Li is not a human but a demon. He has the ability to control zombies, Lin Zhanshan said. Lin Yang swallowed his saliva and hesitated. Is there anything else? Lin Zhanshan noticed Lin Yang's expression and stared at him. Lin Yang could only tell Lin Zhanshan what had happened at the heavenly fragrance in that day. What? Slap. Lin Zhanshan was furious. He stood up angrily from his seat and slapped Lin Yang's face heavily. Lin Yang was sent spinning a few times on the spot. Brother, why did you hit me? Lin Yang covered his face, clearly stunned. Why did I hit you? You provoked Demon King Yi Li. Why do you think I hit you? Lin Zhanshan shouted angrily. With that, Lin Zhanshan told them what had happened not long ago. Demon King Yi Li killed the 12 generals of the Black Demon Mountain with one strike? Fifth Elder Lin He, Lin Miao, and Lin Yang widened their eyes as if they had heard the most unbelievable thing in history. That's right. If not for Demon King Yi Li, our Lin family would definitely have suffered heavy casualties this time, Lin Zhanshan said. Lin Yang swallowed his saliva again and carefully looked at Lin Zhanshan. Big brother, what do you think we should do now? Chapter 794. Young Master of the Wang Family Wang Yun is reading on Novel Cool. Omicron M, the head of the Lin family, Lin Zhanshan, looked at Lin Yang with a dark expression. What should we do? Lead the way. Lin Yang trembled when he heard that. Yes, big brother. Lin Zhanshan called for the elders of the Lin family and the group headed towards zombie paradise. Not long after, they arrived outside zombie paradise. When the genetic warriors saw that the Lin family's head and elders had all arrived, they immediately retreated 3 steps in fear. They were dumbfounded as they watched the scene in front of them. What's going on? Could it be that the Lin family wants to attack Demon King Yi Li? That can't be. That's Demon King Yi Li. Would the Lin family dare? I agree. The Lin family doesn't dare to attack Demon King Yi Li at all. You have to know that Demon King Yi Li is the most terrifying existence in the Mystic Land. The genetic warriors outside the zombie paradise discussed animatedly. They were all guessing the purpose of the Lin family's head and elders' trip. Seconds ticked by. Yi Li heaved a sigh of relief. He had finally synthesized all the zombies in zombie paradise. However, he had only synthesized a tier 3 Lord level zombie. It was meaningless. Then Yi Li walked out of zombie paradise. As soon as he came out, countless eyes looked at him in unison. Yi Li was naturally not surprised at all. He had seen too many such scenes. The genetic warriors looked at Yi Li and then at the Lin family. They thought that a huge battle was probably coming. Although they felt that the Lin family did not dare to attack Demon King Yi Li, they had all come with the mentality of fighting a war. However, to the genetic warrior's surprise, the Lin family's head, Lin Zhanshan, said such a thing. Master Demon King. Lin Zhanshan called out to Demon King Yi Li and quickly walked in front of him. He looked at Yi Li respectfully. Master Demon King, I didn't expect you to come to Mystic City. Yi Li nodded and didn't say anything. Lin Zhanshan broke out in a cold sweat when he saw that Yi Li did not speak. Master Demon King, is there something my people? Before Lin Zhanshan could finish, Yi Li interrupted him. You seem to have a lot to say? Yi Li looked at Lin Zhanshan. When Lin Zhanshan heard this, it was as if a bolt of lightning had struck his head. He was so frightened that he was scared out of wits. What's going on? Suddenly, an unruly voice entered everyone's ears. Everyone looked in the direction of the voice and saw a man walking over slowly. It's the Wang family's young master, Wang Yun, a genetic warrior whispered. The Wang family was the most powerful family among the 5 great families in Mystic City. As for Wang Yun, he was a supreme genius in Mystic City. With his background and talent, he was the Prince Charming in the hearts of countless girls in Mystic City. Wang Yun glanced indifferently at the genetic warriors in front of him. There was a sense of accomplishment on his slightly handsome face, but when he saw the Lin family, he could not help but be stunned. This was because he would never have thought that the Lin family's head and elders would appear here. However, his Wang family was not afraid of the Lin family at all. But when he looked at Yi Li, he froze. It's him? Wang Yun's face suddenly showed a playful smile. He thought to himself, there's a path to heaven, but you don't take it. There is no gate to hell, but you force your way in. Wang Yun recalled that day at the Heavenly Fragrance Inn. Yi Li was so arrogant, but now that he was in Mystic City. Chapter 795. Death of Wang Yun. Ease reading on Novel Cool. Omicron M. Under everyone's stunned gazes, Wang Yun quickly walked to Yi Li's side. He stared at Yi Li and sneered. Brat, I didn't expect you to actually dare to come to Mystic City. What? All the genetic warriors were stunned. They would never have thought that Wang Yun would dare to say such a thing to Demon King Yi Li. Could it be that Wang Yun did not know that the person in front of him was the strongest person in the Mystic Land, Demon King Yi Li? Brother, should we remind Wang Yun? Lin Yang whispered to Lin Zhanshan. However, Lin Zhanshan shook his head. There's no need. Isn't the Wang family the strongest family in Mystic City? Let them offend someone they shouldn't offend. The genetic warriors present chose to say nothing because Wang Yun had always been a tyrant in Mystic City. Now that he had kicked an iron plate, they naturally chose to watch the show. Yi Li looked at Wang Yun indifferently and shook his head. Why don't you cherish your life? What do you mean? Wang Yun was stunned. He naturally did not understand what Yi Li meant. Yi Li smiled. You probably don't know that you were already dead when you said those words just now. Ha ha ha. When Wang Yun heard this, he could not help but laugh at the sky. He felt that he had heard the funniest joke in the world. However, no one present could laugh out loud because they all knew that Wang Yun was already a dead person. It was because he had offended Demon King Yi Li. Brat, don't you think your joke is too funny? After laughing dozens of times, Wang Yun looked at Yi Li with extreme disdain. Let me tell you, this is Mystic City, and my Wang family is the strongest family in Mystic City. Do you think we are still in the Heavenly Fragrance Inn? Wang Yun then shouted at Yi Li. Yi Li's handsome face was as calm as water. He looked at Wang Yun indifferently and then sighed softly. Do you have any last words? As the saying went, when a person was about to die, his words were kind. Yi Li wanted to hear if Wang Yun could say something nice. However, what Yi Li didn't expect was that not only did Wang Yun not say anything nice, but he also became angry. Brat, why are you still so arrogant? In a place like Mystic City, I, Wang Yun, can make you die without a burial place with a word. Wang Yun shouted at Yi Li because he really couldn't imagine how Yi Li could still be so calm. Everyone's eyes widened as they shook their heads and sighed. As the saying went, heaven may forgive those who make mistakes unwittingly, but those who deliberately create their own misfortune cannot be saved. Just as Wang Yun finished speaking, a wind-breaking sound was heard. What? Everyone couldn't help but cry out in surprise because there was already a shocking bloody hole on Wang Yun's forehead. Wang Yun also fell straight to the ground without any signs of life. Although they all knew that Wang Yun was dead, they never thought that he would die so easily. Is Wang Yun from the Wang family? Yi Li looked at Lin Zhanshan. Yes, Master Demon King. The head of the Lin family, Lin Zhanshan, hurriedly replied. Lin Zhanshan was secretly afraid. He thought that it was a good thing that the Lin family did not offend Yi Li too much. Otherwise, the Lin family would have been reduced to ashes in an instant. Then tell the Lin family that I, Yi Li, killed Wang Yun. Let's see what they are going to do, Yi Li said slowly. Chapter 796. Go tell the Wang family that I killed Wang Yi's reading on Novel Cool. Omicron M. Yun. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone from the Lin family could not help but be stunned. The reason why they were stunned wasn't because they felt that Yi Li couldn't destroy the Lin family, but because of the domineeringness in Yi Li's words. It was simply too domineering. This was the most domineering person they had seen since they were born. He was just as domineering as an ancient demon god. Yes, Master Demon King. Lin Zhanshan quickly responded. Then Lin Zhanshan immediately asked Lin Yang to report to the Wang family. The genetic warriors present looked at each other. They had only heard of Demon King Yi Li's reputation and had never seen him before. Now that they saw it, they thought that Demon King Yi Li was indeed Demon King Yi Li. He was really too terrifying. They had a feeling that Demon King Yili was the most terrifying person in the world. Wang family. The head of the Wang family, Wang Hu, was discussing something with the elders. Suddenly, a disciple of the Wang family walked in. Family head, someone from the Lin family has come. They said that they have something important to see you about. Something important? Wang Hu smiled coldly. What important matters could the Lin family have? However, they were both ones of the 5 great families in Mystic City, so it was not appropriate to disrespect the Lin family. Let the Lin family in. The head of the Wang family, Wang Hu, waved his hand. Not long after, Lin Yang walked in. Mr. Wang. Lin Yang called out to Wang Hu. Wang Hu sneered. Lin Yang, what important matters does your Lin family have to discuss? The elders in the hall also felt extremely disdainful. Their Wang family was the #1 family in Mystic City. They looked down on the Lin family. Mr. Wang, I hope you can accept my condolences, Lin Yang said. Your condolences? Wang Hu was stunned. The elders in the Wang family's main hall were also stunned. Clearly they did not understand what Lin Yang meant. Master Wang, not long ago, young Master Wang was killed by Demon King Yili because he offended him. What? As soon as these words were spoken, everyone from the Wang family could not help but gasp. What did you say? Wang Hu's eyes turned red. Wang Yun was his most beloved grandson. Young Master Wang was killed by Demon King Yili, Lin Yang continued. Silence, a deadly silence. Seconds later, the head of the Wang family gritted his teeth and clenched his fists tightly. He didn't feel any pain even when his nails sank into his skin. Demon King Yili. Family head, Demon King Yili is too much. An elder of the Wang family roared. Family head, our Wang family must avenge Xiao Yun. Everyone says that Demon King Yili is the strongest person in the Mystic Land. I Wang Heir don't believe it. Another elder shouted angrily. At this moment, Wang Hu's eyes could already spit fire. He gritted his teeth and said coldly, Demon King Yili, it's fine if you bullied others, but you actually bullied our Wang family. I want to report to Master and ask him to uphold justice for me. Lin Yang was stunned. Wang Hu was going to report this to his master? Wasn't his master dead? Could it be that he wasn't? Mr. Wang, I'm only here to report. If there's nothing else, I'll leave. With that, Lin Yang hurriedly walked out of the Wang family. He felt that everyone in the Wang family was in a fit of anger. If he didn't leave now, he probably wouldn't be able to leave. When Lin Yang arrived at Zombie Paradise, he quickly told Yili the news. What? Wang Hu's master isn't dead? Lin Zhanshan was also stunned. Master Demon King Wang Hu's master is called Lin Jiotong. He was once the strongest person in the Mystic Land. Even the 4 hall masters of the 4 weapons hall were not Lin Jiotong's match, Lin Zhanshan hurriedly said to Yili. Chapter 797. Battle in Mystic City. Ease reading on Novel Cool. Omicronym Lin Jiotong? Yili had never heard of Lin Jiotong before. Master Demon King, it said that Lin Jiotong is already dead, but according to Wang Hu, Lin Jiotong is not dead. Lin Jiotong was once an 8th tier chosen one. Now he is very likely to be a 9th tier chosen one. At the same time, he has a title in the Mystic Land. Lin Zhanshan continued. Yili smiled and thought that there was finally some fun in his peaceful life. What title? Yili looked at Lin Zhanshan indifferently. Lin Zhanshan enunciated each word clearly and slowly. Shake the 3 mountains, carry the 5 mountains, drive the waves and scare ghosts. This title. Yili couldn't help but fall silent because he felt that this title was a little too awesome. I won't go to the Wang family for the time being. Let that Lin Jiotong come to me, Yili said slowly. He wouldn't allow such an awesome title to exist in the Mystic Land. Shake the 3 mountains, carry the 5 mountains, drive the waves and scare ghosts? Then he would let Lin Zhanshan see what Demon King Yili had. Yili stayed in the Lin family for 3 days. 3 days later, the Wang family sent someone to the Lin family to deliver a letter to Yili. They challenged him to a battle at Mystic Lake on February 2nd. Mystic Lake? Mystic Lake was a huge lake outside Mystic City. There were still a few days before February 2nd. Yili was wondering why they wanted to fight him on February 2nd. Wouldn't it be better to start fighting now? At the same time, on February 2nd, the news of the battle at the Mystic Lake spread throughout the entire Mystic Land. The entire Mystic Land instantly exploded. Demon King Yili versus Lin Jiotong. The current #1 on the Mystic Land was fighting the former #1. Needless to say, this battle must be the most exciting battle in history. For a moment, the experts from all over the Mystic Land began to rush to the Mystic City crazily. Yili sat on the mountain peak and looked into the distance. He was now a 9th-tier chosen one. Lin Jiotong was also a 9th-tier chosen one. He wanted to see what was so terrifying about Lin Jiotong. February 2nd. At this moment, countless genetic warriors had gathered in the Mystic Lake. In the pavilion at the center of the lake, there was an old man sitting quietly. The old man was dressed in black. There was no expression on his face, but he gave off an extremely dangerous feeling. The old man was none other than the former strongest expert in the Mystic Land, Lin Jiotong. Many people from the Demon King Palace had come as well. Naturally, they believed in Yili. In their opinion, no one in this world could defeat Yili. Suddenly, Lin Jiotong opened his eyes. A sharp light shot out from his eyes, startling countless fish in the lake. Demon King Yili, where are you? Lin Jiotong said word by word. Lin Jiotong spoke very slowly. There was no emotion in his voice, but it gave off an extremely terrifying feeling. The genetic warriors on both sides of the lake looked around, wanting to see where Demon King Yili was. Demon King Yili, today is the day you die. The head of the Wang family, Wang Hu, said coldly. Demon King Yili had killed his most beloved grandson. He and Yili had a feud. Everyone from the Wang family sneered when they heard this. They knew how terrifying Lin Jiotong was. Demon King Yili definitely had no chance of winning against Lin Jiotong. Crack, crack. Suddenly, a loud sound came from the sky. A person appeared out of thin air. This person was dressed in casual clothes, and his hair fluttered without any wind. Chapter 798. The battle begins. Ease reading on Novel Cool. Omicronym, Demon King Yili is here. Someone let out a shocking roar. Suddenly, the genetic warriors on both sides of the lake looked into the air. Then they were frightened. Demon King Yili. Lin Jiotong's eyes were as sharp as an eagle's as he stared at Yili. You are Demon King Yili? There was no change in Yili's handsome face as he looked at Lin Jiotong indifferently. Yes, I am Demon King Yili. Lin Jiotong smiled coldly. Then he hooked his finger at Yili and said, Since you are the Demon King Yili, come down and die. Silence, dead silence. The genetic warriors on both sides of the lake held their breaths. Their eyes were wide open as if a shocking battle was about to happen. This earth-shattering battle was undoubtedly a showdown where both sides were evenly matched. Yili was still in midair. He looked at Lin Jiotong in the pavilion playfully. Do you really trust your own eyes? Yili spoke slowly. What do you mean? Lin Jiotong looked at Yili coldly. Yili smiled. Don't ever believe your own eyes because your eyes can deceive you sometimes. Lin Jiotong was confused by Yili's words. Demon King Yili, one asked you to come down and die. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Are you afraid? Lin Jiotong sneered. He was sure that Yili did not dare to fight him. You want me, Yili, to die? You have to see if you have the ability to do so. Let me tell you, in front of me, a dragon has to coil up and a tiger has to lie down. Yili said calmly. The genetic warriors on both sides of the lake looked at each other. They had thought that the upcoming battle would be an earth-shattering battle, but they did not expect the conversation between the two to be so sharp. Demon King Yili, do you want to know what will happen to you next? Lin Jiotong looked very displeased. He, Lin Jiotong, had dominated the Mystic Land for decades, but he had never seen someone as crazy as Yili. Yili smiled and said to Lin Jiotong, One advise you to think about what will happen to you first. What did you just say? When Lin Jiotong heard this, he stared at Yili and said word by word, becoming furious. Old fool, is there something wrong with your ears? Yili started to play around. What? When the genetic warriors on both sides of the lake heard Yili's words, they were all shocked to the extreme. Old fool? Lin Jiotong was actually called an old fool? Demon King Yili, you've gone too far. The head of the Wang family, Wang Hu, gritted his teeth and said firmly. His teeth were almost broken. Family head, there's no need to be angry. This Demon King Yili has no way out today. An elder of the Wang family said to Wang Hu. When Lin Jiotong heard Yili calling him an old fool, his face turned green with anger. Clang. Suddenly, a cold light shot out from the lake, causing the surface of the lake to sparkle. A long sword appeared in Lin Jiotong's hand. This sword was completely red and the killing intent on it was obvious. It was enough to make one's guts tremble. Is this the King Slaying Sword? A genetic warrior said in shock. King Slaying Sword. Lin Jiotong had once killed countless powerhouses in the Mystic Land with the King Slaying Sword. Chapter 799. This sword was called the Ancient Dragon Abyss Sword. Ease reading on Novel Cool. Omicron M. Lin Jiotong held the King Slaying Sword in his hand and stared at Yi Li. Demon King Yi Li, this sword is called the King Slaying Sword. I once used this sword to kill 108 super experts and 532 intermediate experts. As Lin Jiotong spoke, his old face began to look extremely smug. The genetic warriors on both sides of the lake looked at the King Slaying Sword in Lin Jiotong's hand in shock. To Lin Jiotong's surprise, Yi Li smiled faintly. Demon King Yi Li, why can you still smile? Lin Jiotong gritted his teeth and stared at Yi Li. He wondered if Demon King Yi Li still didn't know what the current situation was. Why can't I smile? In my eyes, the King Slaying Sword in your hand is just a pair of scrap metal, Yi Li said calmly. As soon as these words were spoken, not only Lin Jiotong, but even the genetic warriors on both sides of the Mystic Lake were shocked to the extreme. The King Slaying Sword was a piece of scrap metal? The genetic warriors on both sides of the lake would never have thought that Yi Li would say such a thing. Demon King Yi Li, you actually dare to say that my King Slaying Sword is scrap metal? Lin Jiotong was so angry that he was about to explode. This was the most furious he had ever been. What? You don't believe me? Yi Li looked at Lin Jiotong. When Lin Jiotong heard this, he suddenly felt that he had really lost his composure. After calming himself down, he said to Yi Li in a low voice, Demon King Yi Li, of course I don't believe it. On the Mystic Land, the King Slaying Sword is a supreme spiritual treasure. After saying that, Lin Jiotong looked proud again. Yi Li smiled faintly. There was no change in his handsome face. He slowly said to Lin Jiotong, I also have a sword to show you. Everyone please watch. As soon as he finished speaking, a terrifying dragon roar sounded. Everyone took a closer look and realized that there was a 5-clawed blood dragon above Yi Li's head. It was really terrifying. A shockingly sharp sword appeared in Yi Li's hand. This sword was completely red and was 3 feet and 3 inches long. All kinds of treasure auras appeared on the sword. Looking at the sharp sword in Yi Li's hand, the genetic warriors on both sides of the lake were in an uproar. What kind of sword is this? It's too terrifying. Just looking at it makes me feel like I'm dead. Me too. This sword is the most terrifying I've ever seen. There's absolutely no other. The genetic warriors' bodies even trembled. They were as shocked as they could be. Even the Lin family and the Wang family people were the same. Well? Lin Jiotong was stunned. He could swear that this was the first time he had been so shocked since he was born. Demon King Yi Li, what sword is that in your hand? Lin Jiotong stared at Yi Li and shouted. Yi Li smiled calmly and raised the Ancient Dragon Abyss Sword in his hand. He slowly said word by word. This sword is called the Ancient Dragon Abyss Sword. It's also the sword that will kill you. When the genetic warriors on both sides of the lake heard Yi Li's words, they could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. They felt that Yi Li was the most domineering person in the world. How could a person be so domineering? The genetic warriors couldn't understand. They really couldn't. Ha ha ha. Suddenly, Lin Jiotong burst out laughing again. Chapter 800. A Horrible Battle. Ease reading on Novel Cool. Omicron M. Lin Jiolong's laughter shook the heavens. After laughing, Lin Jiotong looked at Yi Li and sneered. Demon King Yi Li, do you really think you can kill me? Yi Li smiled calmly. You can try. The smile on Lin Jiotong's face froze. Demon King Yi Li, one wants you to die without a burial place. Lin Jiotong shouted. As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Jiotong suddenly slashed at Yi Li with the King Slaying Sword. Swish. An extremely terrifying slash headed towards Yi Li. The genetic warriors on both sides of the lake opened their eyes wide. They knew that this slash was the most terrifying slash they had ever seen in their lives. Yi Li, who was in midair, shook his head, his face as calm as water. Just as the terrifying slash was about to hit Yi Li raised the Ancient Dragon Abyss Sword and casually swung it. It looked like a casual strike, but it was actually terrifying to the point of being shocking. Suddenly, a supreme sword light flew out from the Ancient Dragon Abyss Sword. The supreme sword light and the terrifying slash collided heavily. In an instant, everyone felt as if the sky and earth had collapsed. Boom! Sword chi swept across 30,000 kilometers, and sword light swept across 19 prefectures. Some of the weaker genetic warriors on both sides of the lake were knocked to the ground. Their faces were filled with shock. Clearly they were extremely frightened. Suddenly, the terrifying slash was completely destroyed by the supreme sword light, which continued to fly towards Lin Jiotong. How is it possible? When Lin Jiotong saw this, he couldn't help but scream as if he had seen something that would never happen. He didn't expect Yi Li to be so strong. Sword flattening technique. Just as the supreme sword beam was not far from Lin Jiotong raised the ancient dragon abyss sword and slashed out. Countless sword rays flew towards the supreme sword ray. Boom! With another earth-shattering bang, all the sword lights in the air had already disappeared. The genetic warriors on both sides of the mystic lake were already shocked to the extreme. Their eyes were wide open, and their mouths were so wide that they could fit an extra-large bowl. How can Demon King Yi Li be so strong? The head of the Wang family, Wang Hu, shouted coldly and stared fixedly at the figure in midair. But everyone from the Lin family was extremely happy. They were glad that they were on Yi Li's side. If they were like the Wang family, wouldn't Yi Li cause trouble for the Lin family after he defeated Lin Jiotong? Demon King Yi Li, you're very strong. You're really very strong. Lin Jiotong stared at Yi Li and said. Yi Li smiled and said indifferently, actually, I'm not very strong, but I'm strong enough to kill you. Hearing this, Lin Jiotong's face darkened. Demon King Yi Li, aren't you speaking these words too early? Lin Jiotong said coldly. Yi Li looked at Lin Jiotong and couldn't help but sneer. He really didn't know where Lin Jiotong got his confidence from. How could Lin Jiotong know what kind of person he, the Demon King Yi Li, was? What amused Yi Li the most was that Lin Jiotong still dared to say those stupid words to him. He simply didn't know his place. Lin Jiotong, come here and let me kill you. As soon as he finished speaking, Yi Li hooked his finger at Lin Jiotong. Seeing this, Lin Jiotong could not help but be extremely angry. He roared at Yi Li, Demon King Yi Li, today is the day that you're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.